What's up, YouTube? It's Josh and
Ryan.
we're back for another episode of MovieKombat.
Sorry, I have to adjust my wire.
Yeah,
There.
I wasn't sure.
There we go. I'm just going to pull it to the side there.
Yep, that's some behind-the-scenes
Yeah.
action for you guys.
Sometimes you just got to tuck your wire to the left. You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah,
Anyway, welcome
my wire
to
hangs to
MovieKombat.
the left. But yeah, we're here watching we're going to be discussing the 6th movie that we've watched in our first season here. And it is the final movie of this particular half of the series. It's the movie Predators, which came out in 2010, and it is the 6th movie in our whole thing.
Yep.
And it's the last of the Predator flicks, and then we pretty soon will be moving on to the Aliens universe, which is connected canonically through it, I guess, because of obviously AVP.
Yes. we have thrown EVP in here so much as the last 2 movies didn't even discuss them. We have considered them because the second one kind of makes it canon. Because that the xenomorphs exist anyway. So yeah.
So I guess you want to start it off as far as
Sure.
beginning of the
So
movie?
the beginning of the movie starts with free falling. It is not the song, but the act of it.
Yeah.
And I said worst PUBG drop ever.
Oh yeah, good call, dude.
Because I was like, man, this is just they can make a Predator Battle Royale.
Yeah.
They can just do that whenever they want to. And then I'm like,
Oh,
man,
they should do that.
there you go, industry.
Dude, that would be a great game.
And then after he hits the ground, it does the Predator logo. Is that what happens?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, because well, first of all, I was just surprised that dude survived because that parachute didn't open. But
it
maybe
did open, but
like,
way late.
Well, I was gonna say,
so,
but like maybe like 30 feet above the ground.
yeah.
Like-
Definitely the trees caught the parachute, so that when he hit the ground, he knocked himself out, but didn't kill himself. Though there was anyway, we'll get to that part.
And then after the logo, the original Predator music. Did you hear it play when you
there
were
was
watching
a lot of music in this that I was like, man, the heck is that?
Well, that's a low flying
That is
plane.
a very low flying plane. Holy crap! I don't don't know if that got caught on the thing, but sometimes noise from the outside will get in here. But yeah, I don't live next to an airport.
Yeah.
So I don't live anywhere near one. Anyway,
You hear a big explosion, you know what it is.
yeah, that would be really what a weird coincidence that would be. That would be like such a weird reaction. Anyway, we're getting into. Well, there was a lot of crashes.
Well, I was
in
gonna
this.
say,
Yeah,
these
there
guys
was
were thrown out of some sort of
exactly, they were
plane,
out of there.
so,
There
you
you
know.
go. Maybe we'll see some drops here in a
So
second.
the universe getting in on the action here.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Adrian Brody is the main character in this one.
Yeah.
I only refer to him as Adrian because
Pretty much.
nobody. This is okay. I'm actually gonna praise this movie so much because they did a lot of stuff right.
Yeah.
Because they were like, who gives a fuck about these people? They don't even get names.
Yeah, like,
at all.
I-
None of them do.
Yeah, I think him and
The girl at the very
Yeah.
end of the movie
Yeah.
get names. And I'm like, that's right. They haven't even introduced themselves. They just were like, we're in the shit. We're just going to do it.
I gave them all nicknames. Well, I guess we'll get to it later.
Yeah.
'cause
So
there's-
anyway, Adrian Brody meets Machete.
Oh, yes, yeah. I other than Adrian Brody, I would sometimes call him Beak just for shorthand because of
Because
his
he has big nose.
Yeah, his huge ass nose, man.
I guess I was.
It's the one thing that I know about Adrian Brody's. It's like
Yeah.
he's got that bird beak on.
I've
him,
only
but, you know.
seen 2 movies that Adrian Brody is in. This movie and King Kong.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think probably King Kong. He's been in a couple.
I
other
love
movies.
King Kong, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good movie. He's been in a couple other movies too, but I just can't remember him off the top of my head.
And then as Adrian Brody and Machete are arguing with each other, a man doesn't land so well.
Oh yeah, that's
Just
right.
explodes
Yeah.
into the jungle. So they're in a jungle in somewhere. They're just in the middle of the jungle. Adrian Brody and Machete are just yelling at each other, about to kill each other.
Yeah.
And then Adrian Brody's like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not shooting you. I'm not the one that shooting you. And blah, blah, blah. They start arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we get to hear a sound from a gun that we are very well known of. What gun is that?
That would be like a huge minigun, old painless, if you will.
Yeah. As Jesse the Body Ventura used in the
Yes.
first Predator movie.
Yeah. I don't know that guy's name. I just know he's some Russian dude, or he's from
Yeah,
like the Czech Republic or something.
I.
He mentions he was in a war in like the Czech Republic.
That's
but
right.
I don't
I
know.
knew it. I knew it. He's an MMA fighter.
Yeah, because I've seen him before. He's been in like a movie or two as like just
Oh,
a
he's been in a
grunt.
couple.
Yeah, he's usually just like a bodyguard or like a bad henchman guy because he's just
That's
kind of a big dude.
I'm gonna butcher his name because well he's Russian. It's Ulag Toktrov.
Oleg Takhtarov.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are gonna be like, oh, it's so and so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Nikolai. He does get a name.
Oh, that's
he
right.
Does get a name.
Nikolai.
Yeah. I guess some of them do get names.
Yeah,
I guess they all do get names.
Yeah, they're just kind of like they maybe say their name like once or twice in passing, like a couple of them,
But they really do not
Yeah.
focus on it at all.
yeah, they just kind of like one thing I do appreciate about this movie is how like even though they're all strangers. Okay, so I guess this movie compared to the first Predator is very similar. Like the whole setup and everything, and the fact that it's like a ragtag group and in a jungle and stuff. And I really appreciate how quickly they get all these strangers together in the movie. Because like first we get we get Machete, and then we get Nikolai, and then after that immediately we get the female sniper.
I just referred to her as sniper or I referred to her as girl or sniper.
Yeah, I
So-
said sniper, and I thought it was pretty funny because she had a remote control on top of her gun.
I know that was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Some like night vision or whatever.
Yep.
But then I noticed like because I thought I was gonna be clever and I was gonna catch this of the three guys explain that they were in war and then ended up falling. So we get introduced to the fact that they were all doing something before they were just like
Yeah.
poof, here we are, you're falling in free air. They don't even explain that, which again is something we complained about in AVP. It could have been a really good movie, but they just had so much backlog. But they're like in this movie, they're like, no, fuck it, you don't even need to know. Boom,
Yeah.
they're just falling. Here you go. You're in it. You're in it.
Yeah,
This is what-
you're basically starting where the characters are starting. You're learning right along
which
with
is
them.
fine. And then they introduce like the prisoner.
Oh, don't forget about Sneaky Yakuza, who takes off
Yes,
his shoes
Yakuza.
and puts his feet in the mud.
Yeah, which was kind of interesting. I immediately I was gonna write like Yakuza on here because that was as I was like, man, he definitely looks like he could be a part of it. And then later on they explain
Yeah.
he is a part of the Yakuza.
And then the African dude,
he's-
Mahershala Ali. I can't remember how to say his name.
Oh, the guy.
yeah,
the actual
yeah.
actor.
I don't know what his name in
the
the
guy that
movie
was in. I think he's also
he's
in.
in True Detective right now.
Wasn't he just in a new movie? Alita. He was in
And
Alita.
he was in Alita,
Yeah,
yeah.
Alita Battle Angel. He's Uncle Aaron in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's like blowing up right now as
Yeah,
far as
yeah,
actors
he
are concerned.
definitely-
He's in True Detective right now. He's in Spider-Man. He was in Alita, and he was in another movie like right before all that too.
He was in Luke Cage, House of Cards. Man, dude,
Yeah,
this guy's busy.
Yeah,
Room 104.
He's been around since like the 44
Green Book. He was in Green Book.
the 4400. I think he was in that too.
I saw a number here.
That was like way back when.
Man, dude, the last two movies he was in won, I think, the best movie of last year. Because I think Green Book won this year, something at the Golden Globes or whatever, which Oscars I can't remember. I can't keep up. And then Moonlight won last year.
Oh yeah.
So he was in both those movies.
I think he was also in that movie with Matthew McConaughey about like the slave town or
Yep,
whatever.
I see it right here. He was in Free State of Jonas.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good movie.
Man, dude, this guy. He's
Yeah.
also in Hunger Games.
Yeah,
What
dude.
the heck?
He's pretty big right now.
Yeah, dude. And it seems like dude. Okay, so 2016 alone, he was in House of Cards, a movie called Kicks, Gooba Guard Co. I probably mispronounced that. Free State of Jones, Moonlight, Luke Cage, Hidden Figures, The Realist. So he was in 8 movies and shows.
Yeah, he's busy.
In 2016 alone. I was like, dang, man.
Yeah, so he's a pretty cool actor. I like him. So yeah, I just called him African because I didn't know where he was from. I
Yeah.
didn't know what state. I guess eventually they say Sierra
Just
Leone.
so you guys know, before you
but
go in the 8 comments,
yeah.
Josh is not white. I
Oh,
just want to
that's,
throw that out there. So
yeah, I can get away with it a little bit.
I said African warlord
Oh, yeah,
because
I
he
mean,
does
that's-
say that he is.
that's more or less
So-
what he is. Because I mean, he explains some stuff in the movie later
yeah,
on.
he just said he was He was fighting somewhere in Africa. I can't remember. He was doing
Yeah.
something. And then Topher.
Yeah, good old Eric Foreman, if you will. That's what I was calling him Foreman the entire time.
I called him Topher because I was like, there's no other person that's going to have this name. So I'm not gonna, I wrote Topher is the comic relief.
Yeah, the original Venom.
So you did see Venom?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I just do that because I know you do it.
Okay.
I don't even know. I just know it's an Eminem song.
Yeah,
but
it is.
I've
It was
never
at the very end.
Never even heard it.
They mentioned that Topher is a doctor.
Yeah.
In the very beginning.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna be. This is another one of those movies that I actually some parts there was just so much that you couldn't really write down.
Right.
So I might skip. So stop me if I do that.
Yeah, I was kind of.
But anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of doing the same thing because a lot of it's really just kind of them going from point A to point B and like they're kind of talking along the way.
Which I want to again say. Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because the first Predator did exactly that. They went from point A to point B, and it flowed through the story.
Yeah.
The story is they're fighting Predator, and that's it. They don't need to have a whole background about who they are, which is what the first one goes, here they are, they're military guys, and they're on a mission. That's it.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Run.
And this one's basically like, here's a bunch of strangers with all different traits, and they don't know where they're at, so they're trying to get out. You know?
Yeah. They do figure out that they're all somewhat knowledgeable with weapons, except they can't figure out what Topher is.
Yeah,
he just seems like he's a waste of space.
Yeah, they just assume he's the smart one, I guess, because he's a doctor.
He's a doctor. And they start talking about how, like, we need to work together as humans or whatever, but they don't know they're just humans yet. They feel like we're just alone, we're in a random spot, so they need to like understand the situation because they're all military trained in some way, shape, or form, whether that be as advanced as a United States Black Ops or as
Brody.
A prisoner. They all understand they need a plan to get out of whatever situation they are, so they work together, which is fast, quick, boom, done. They don't need to explain anymore.
Yeah.
Which is fine because, like, I'll accept it because, in natural state, if you're in the woods alone, what are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to shoot the random guy that that's speaking calmly to you?
Yeah, strength in numbers.
Exactly. So they're going to try and figure out, and if there's more of them, which is why, like, when Adrian Brody and Machete like team up with each other, that was probably the hardest thing that they could probably come to. Yeah. And then when both of them came to Nikolai,
right, he was already shooting at him.
Yeah, it was already easier to do because then he's like, well, what makes me like have to trust you and blah blah blah. And then Adrian Brody's like, because if I didn't want you to trust me, you wouldn't be here in this conversation or something like that. So he's like, oh shit, all right, I guess you're right.
That makes sense. You would have blown my brains out by now.
Yeah, because I would have probably did it too. Because they all figure out, well, if I'm not killing you because you're not killing me, and we all need each other right now to figure out where the hell we are.
And then I remember Adrian Brody, as they start wandering off into the woods, he said something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, he's just like basically like, if you want to live, you're gonna have to follow me, kind of thing. I didn't write down the quote because
I think I have it here somewhere, but it's not exactly as blunt as
it's
as a Terminator Arnold line.
Yeah, it's like a little bit more subtle than that.
Yeah.
But I liked his whole approach where he was basically like, I'm gonna go this way, and if you guys want to follow me, that's cool. If not, whatever, I'm on my own if either way. So he wasn't really too
I don't know
concerned.
you guys anyway, so it's whatever.
Yeah. And they find that monolith in the middle of the jungle with all the bones.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay.
They were oh wait, the Yakuza finds it? Or is this the one after?
Yeah. Well, no, this is the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
This is when they're just wandering through, and then they see, Yakuza staring at something, and then they walk over to him, and then they look, and it's like just a monolith with a bunch of human skeletons underneath of it, and then that's when they figure out that whoever's there takes trophies because the African dude sees, or he's like, yeah, this happened in my country or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, people take trophies, they make sacrifices, so like this must be some kind of primitive culture or something that, or maybe something more advanced, but either way, like we know they hunt people.
Yeah. So here's the answer to your "come with me if you want to live" line. Because I did write that down. But before that, they're all following in like a straight line, and Prisoner is just staring at Sniper's ass the whole time.
Oh yeah.
And she like stops. and then just turns around and looks at him, and he's like already looking down. He looks back up, and he doesn't hide it at all. He's like, "Your ass is awesome."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But I mean, he's a prisoner. He's been locked up for how long?
Yeah.
I don't know, but who knows?
Yeah,
So
and that was Walton Goggins who played him. He's pretty famous.
yeah,
he's been
he's
in
in
a
a.
few movies and
Isn't he
stuff.
Walking Dead right now, or
Um,
was maybe at a time?
I don't know if he was in Walking Dead, but he was in Sons of Anarchy for a little while. He was in.
He always plays like somewhat
he was
racist
in-
guy. Too.
Yeah, he was in the most recent Ant-Man. He was in.
He was in Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. He was in that movie or in that TV show with
He's in the Hateful Eight.
what was that? Boyd Crowder. That was his name in the
He
show.
is in Sons of Anarchy. He's in Community.
What's that show?
It's kind of funny. A lot of these guys have connections with Machete because he's also
Yeah.
in that movie too.
You know,
He was in G.I. Joe. He was in Django.
a funny fact about Machete's character. So originally, Robert Rodriguez, I think, directed this movie, or like helped on it. I can't remember exactly.
He did not direct it.
Or he produced it or
but-
something. He was involved in some way, shape, or story. I can't remember exactly how, but essentially the character that Danny Trejo
Yes, he was a producer.
producer. Okay, so the character that Danny Trejo plays
Yes,
was written
Who
into
is
the
Machete?
script.
But yes.
Yeah, it was written into the script as a character that looks like Danny Trejo. So Danny Trejo heard about this, calls Robert Rodriguez, and he's like, "I look like Danny Trejo," and then he got the part. And so it was just like
Nice.
he had to connect, So he was put in the movie.
Sorry, I was looking at some
Oh,
other stuff.
oh,
But
no,
here's
you're
that
good.
line. So Sniper goes, "Where are you going?" And then Adrian Brody goes, "To high ground." And then she goes, "We should stick together." And then he goes, "Then you should follow me."
That's it. Yeah. And I was like, dude, what a badass, man.
Sorry
And
for the-
my favorite part about this whole thing with Brody is that he was basically doing like a Christian Bale Batman voice.
Yeah, he definitely had like the badass. He was supposed
Yeah.
to be the badass of the movie. So
To higher ground.
yeah,
You
he
know?
definitely had that. And then I wrote down Topher finds a poison flower.
Yes. Yeah.
And he takes his little scalpel because Nikolai is gonna touch it,
Mhm.
and Topher takes his scalpel. He's what? It's like it's a paralyzing agent or whatever. the
Yeah,
hell it is.
neurotoxin.
Yeah, don't touch this. And he's like, okay. And then he walks away, and then somebody walks up to him and goes, "I think you made a friend or
Yeah,
something."
yeah, because I think the Nikolai was like, "I stick with you,"
Yeah,
and so they kind of become buddy for like the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And then they get to the top of this like mountain type thing, and Sniper and Adrian Brody are talking to each other,
Mhm.
and he's about to say like, "Oh, I'm gonna head off," and then she goes, "We should stick together," blah blah blah, and he's like, "Well, you can stay here, I can leave," blah, and then she goes, "You want to see something fucked up?" And then they come back, and this is another thing. They make sure they pretty much indicate that the viewer is not a moron like
Yeah.
a lot of these other movies did. All they do is they take a leaf and with they pretty much make a compass.
Yeah, I think it's like a needle of some sort. or
Yeah,
something
and they
on
put it in the water. You don't ever see this happen. You just see it spinning around.
Mhm.
But as a human, as the viewer, you should know, well, they probably aren't finding north and south. It's
Yeah, no
probably
compass
trying to do
bearing.
it. Yeah. So I already knew that. They never explained what that actually was.
Mhm.
They just figure you're probably not an idiot. So
Yeah.
and they're military people, so they probably know how to like make a compass out of nothing. And so Adrian Brody looks down and he's like, pretty much says, I can't remember how much back and forth happens, but then he says that the sun hasn't moved since we got here.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, that's not the worst of our problems."
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like, "What?" And he's like, "The sun hasn't moved since we got here." And so, yeah, and that's kind of a good hint too. That like, either the planet is artificial, or
It does become nighttime.
or oh yeah, it does, doesn't
yeah.
it?
So I think it's just it's a slower day.
Yeah, or it's like obvious. And I mean, you kind of see it later, as far as like, some stuff. But yeah, it seems like the planet's like in a weird place in the universe, essentially. I guess.
Yeah, they have no idea where they're at. Then I wrote humans form as a team because at this point they've all pretty much come together.
And they're coming to the theory that they've been chosen to be there because that's when they kind of figure out that they're all special, like in some, like, oh, we've been in combat, we're
Yeah,
trained.
because Adrian Brody
know.
and Sniper are talking to one
Mm-hmm.
another, and they pretty much run down the line of, he's that, you're that, I'm this,
Yeah.
and then him, and it shows Topher, and he goes, well, I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to do or something like that. And but yeah, so section of the forest filled with crates that fell from the sky.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they just basically keep wandering, and then they stumble upon a crate, and then Yakuza pulls out his gun because he's gonna be like the first one to open the curtain. He's got some backup behind him, and
There's a big ass
and
cockroaches in that thing. Man.
Yeah, dude.
They were all CGI, which I'm not too a fan of, but
they were like the size of like a foot.
Yeah, they were pretty big.
Yeah, but there's nothing in the crate, and then when they happen to look up into the trees, there's like a whole bunch of crates just in the woods, like all strewn about.
Really bad airdrops.
Because all of them have come from the sky, and they all kind of dropped in the same. And there was like maybe about, I don't know, like 10, give or take.
I also wrote forest has traps.
Oh yes. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like,
yeah, they get all triggered and whatnot, and they see like a log swing by. It's pretty much all of Arnold's traps are like on the planet that they just now all tripped every single one of them.
Yeah.
And then they find the dude that's just chilling there, and they go triggered a dead man's trap. And then I noticed that the man, did you notice his chest?
Yeah.
It was exploded.
Yeah, not imploded.
Not imploded. And I was
like,
like,
it's kind of weird, huh?
Huh. What is, and then there's never a reference to xenomorphs though.
Yeah.
In this whole entire movie. But I was like, so I guess if he was shot in the back, but
he was like laying
on a log.
Yeah.
And he was sitting up.
Yeah.
So something had to have gone from the inside.
I will say
out,
now that this movie did end on sort of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So it seemed like they had plans for the future, you know.
I would have watched another one of these, but I'm definitely glad that they ended where it did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just noticed that. I was like, man chest bursted, huh? Okay, all right.
And I guess Topher, he was looking at the body, and he says it's been about 2 weeks since he had died due to decomposition, and based on like how he looked and stuff. And and it was pretty cool because when they set off all the traps and stuff, like how you were saying, it was like the Arnold traps because it had the falling log, it had the gate thing with the the spikes,
the bear trap, the big giant like SWAT thing.
Yeah, the falling spikes that the predator didn't fall for at the very end when he was like, "Kill me,
come on, kill me."
Yeah, and then there was like one or two others, I think, but I don't think they got hurt by him. I just can't remember exactly what they were.
Yeah, of all those traps, no one got hurt from any of those.
Yeah, they all survived, which was very lucky because they just kind of stumbled upon it. And
though it would have been a real piss poor job if they would have someone would have died because we see predator vision in 23 minutes. So at this point, we have our 23 minutes into the movie, and we're actually just hit 23-minute mark.
Weird. Oh, that's crazy.
So we're okay right now.
We're making like 1-to-1 time.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting that they've you see the predator vision.
Yeah.
I did notice the predator vision in this movie is the best that there has been.
Yeah.
Just based on technology that they probably had at the time. And so now you can see like details of heat sensors or whatnot.
And theoretically speaking, this is in the future of the chronology because this is after like 2018 plus.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, it's like, for the predators, it's further along in the future, and apparently they adapt quite quickly.
So then they get to the horizon and they notice something around here. What do they see here?
Well, they notice that it's not our moon in the sky, but rather a giant-ass planet with a couple other planets all rotating around each other, basically.
I counted 4.
It's like
miscounted there, but
probably like a Jupiter-sized planet, and then like maybe a couple, like I would guess like Neptune-sized planets, and then their planet. And so I'm assuming like theirs is probably a little moon, which has probably artificially been created because it's just a big jungle, and then it's just probably rotating around those. I don't know. I'm really curious if one of those is the Predator's home planet that's out in the sky. Like maybe they just created that in their own space somehow.
I don't know.
Like maybe they terraformed one of their own moons.
I don't know. Because, that does get mentioned later on in the movie, which it explains it. Boom, right away. There's explanations for everything in this movie. Most of explanations that are necessary. But then
they one last thing. Adrian Brody had a really good quote right here because when they look and everybody's just jaw dropped, he just goes, we're gonna need a new plan.
I know. I did notice that. I was like, wow, wait a Jaws reference.
Yeah,
there?
and I was like, that was pretty good, man.
Yeah.
That was a good delivery. I liked it. You know?
There was also a part where I don't know what happened, but the prisoner's asking for a gun, and he's like, "Come on, man, you got 2 guns." And then Machete's like aiming at him. He's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, all right, man.
I want a gun.
Yeah.
He's got a gun. You got 2 guns. I want a gun. And he's got
And then-
just a little shiv.
Yeah, he takes his shiv and he goes up to the African warlord guy, and he's like, "Come on, man, give me your gun. Give me your gun." And then he goes and he pulls like a handgun right to his throat, and he's like, "I'm ready to die."
Yeah.
Are you? And because as soon as he said, "I'm ready to die," and I said it before he said it, I was like, "Are you?" And I'm jokingly writing it, and he goes, "Are you?" And I'm like, "Okay, that was pretty good." Oh man. So yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
And then we see warthog dogs. Everyone shoots but suck at killing.
So I know a fun fact about these dogs.
These are not the pred dogs.
Yeah.
That we saw in the last film.
So yeah, because these dogs are not native to Yautja Prime or whatever the Predator. I think that's what it's called. These are actually based on. So when we look at the end of Predator 2, the skull wall that has the alien skull on it.
Yes.
There's another creature that it zooms in on, like to the left. That's this like big skull with like a bunch of teeth.
It looks like a dinosaur head.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. And then there's another one to the right of that is also like it's like smaller, but it looks kind of like a dinosaur skull in a way. That's the one that these are based off of. So these are whatever those creatures are that they hunted before. Because essentially, I'm not sure if it happened. I'm assuming it happens throughout, at some point while they're talking and they're walking through the woods, that they essentially figure out that this is some kind of game preserve. And they're just like, we're being hunted, because they put some of the pieces together.
After this thing, yeah. So
no, it happens like right after this happens. That's
immediately
right.
after this.
That's right.
So they do reference the thing that I was not too happy about in the last movie, even though the last movie was made after this movie.
Yeah.
Is they do run out of ammo. They actually do talk about running out of ammo. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, because in real life you wouldn't be fucking shooting random.
Did you notice that everybody at least teams? So if they don't kill one, they team up to kill one. Everybody gets at least one takedown. So Machete gets one takedown, and then later on another one attacks him. The sniper sniper takes out the
running,
one.
Or no, prisoner's running. I think prisoner's running.
No, he shivs one because
that's right.
Because the doctor's running, sniper takes that one out, and then the prisoner's running away from one. It tackles him, and then he takes out his shiv and just starts stabbing it in the neck.
And then African warlord comes out and he just blasts him in the head. He's like,
blows him away, and then Adrian Brody gets a couple with the shotgun and he chops one's head off. And who's the other guy? Nikolai. He gets one. He gets like 1 or 2 with his gun or something like that.
I did write in the beginning though that they suck at killing.
Yeah.
They were just blowing in this like one like at least a 6-foot radius, and they couldn't kill one of them.
Yeah.
And then when they all got split off, then they eventually killed a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
But then they were about to kill them, and they were all running out of ammo, kind of around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the warthog dogs get called back.
Yeah, there's a big whistle that just like
whistle
echoes
calls
through the
back.
woods.
And then they say reload and conserve ammunition. And then here it is. Quote.
Oh yeah.
The planet is a game reserve, and we're the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh boy.
Because I guess apparently Adrian Brody, he's like analyzing the situation. He's like, oh, it totally makes sense what just happened. Like they sent in the dogs first. They separated us, see what we could do by ourselves, see if we could hold them off, and then they called them off. They're like basically testing our nerve and our resolve.
They fleshed them out, essentially.
Yeah, and
because
then
they split them all apart.
Yes,
and they were
and he's like, that's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah, no, they go, how do you know that? And then he's like, because that's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah, he like his character's really quotable in this.
Yeah,
like,
no, they definitely gave him like they're like, okay, we made Arnold have like quotable lines, but Arnold like could ad lib them in.
Right. They
were just like, all right, let's just write anything that comes to mind that sounds cool, and we're just gonna give it to Adrian Brody.
Yeah, pretty much
what they did. And then we get Machete sitting in a field.
Yeah,
because what do they find out at this one? That's 32 minutes in.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I wrote the
The
thing on
African dude notices at the end of them fighting the dogs. He's like, "Hey, wait, there's only 7 of us." And then all of a sudden
six,
they hear,
six. Wait, yes,
yeah,
yes.
just
Sorry,
7.
yep, 7.
And then they
There's
hear
8 to begin with.
yes, and then they hear like, help me, help, and then they're like, oh, what the hell? And so then they find Danny Trejo sitting in a field facing away from them, and it's like this open field surrounded by a bunch of trees. It's like really ominous and creepy, and he's just sitting there like slumped over, and then they're like the girl's gonna go run to him, but then Adrian Brody's like, no, stop, wait, like it's a trap. And then she's like, what do you mean it's a trap? So he picks up like a rock or something and throws it, and it gets hit by a trap that's set in this tall grass. And so then the prisoner Walton Goggins, he's all like we can't. Or oh wait, no. First the African dude's like, oh, I've seen this before. Like you get a man separated from the group, you hurt him, you torture him, whatever, you make him cry out in pain, and then everybody else comes, and then they kill everybody who comes for him.
And
So
the reason why he knows that is because
he's done it before.
Exactly.
Yeah, as a warlord or of wherever. And so then, so the prisoner, he's all like, we're going to leave him, right? Like, we can't save him, obviously, because he's out there. And the entire time, too, he's like, Danny Trejo's character every so often is like, help me. And he keeps saying it in the same voice. And then, so Adrian Brody and the group, essentially, besides the sniper, decide to leave him, and they start walking off. The sniper is like, okay, I'm gonna mercy kill him, so she puts a bullet through his back, and then as she's getting ready to walk off, it goes, help me, and then she looks up and is just like, what in the hell, and then kind of scampers off.
Because this is why this scene alone was a really good scene, because it indicates that it had that Friday the 13th feel.
Yeah, it was
of where it's
really
like, oh, now it's like a monster movie.
Yeah,
like, I felt
it was
like
creepy.
Yeah, because like with the last movies, they're all action movies.
Yeah.
Except in the first one, I would say it's an action movie, but it's also monster movie too. In the first Predator movie, this one's definitely leaning towards more of this is a monster. Like there are monsters in this movie, and Predator has now iconically become it in this one alone, because they're like, we're gonna make him more creepier, and like they're gonna make this whole dynamic of this and that and the other deal. But we find out more information later on in the movie to kind of change why the Predators are acting a little differently.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I wrote that down too. But the crew finds a Predator campground.
Yes, and it's got more of those monoliths, like multiples of those monoliths.
But we find out what the monoliths are for.
Yes.
Because something is tied to one of these things.
And that would
38 minutes in.
And that would be another Predator.
Yes. A naked Predator. I mean, not buck-ass naked.
Dude, they got chest hair, man. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah, he's got this line of chest hair all the way up.
A little happy trail?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I thought it was so funny. I was like, damn, dude, they got chest hair?
So, yeah, they're all, like, examining, like, oh, man. I honestly thought, spoiler alert for the rest of the movie, though, they were going to drop, you were one ugly motherfucker. They never said that in this movie.
They do.
They do?
Yeah.
I missed it then, because I was like,
well,
when are they going to say this?
It's hidden.
Oh, okay.
I found this out after going on to IMDb after the movie, because I was like just looking up a couple things about it, and I'll tell you when it happens.
Okay, because I was definitely like, what? They never said this. And so, yeah, so out in the open, they don't say it as blatantly as because I think in the last movie, Olivia Munn says it, like someone else says it.
Yeah, the beautiful motherfucker line.
Yeah, and then like what was AVPR, they say it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, AVP gets cut off because the girl says it, and then and then the girl.
Just wrap it. Might as well you stop now. Just take your cable there, put it up there.
I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, if it touches it, you'll hear the little jingles.
I didn't realize it was so low.
It's all
there.
good. It's all good. We got to get new mic stands anyway.
Yeah, because in AVP, the girl, because it was PG-13, she was gonna say it, and then she gets cut off.
Cuts off. Yeah. They do drop the F word once, but they wasted it.
Yeah.
They wasted it early on. I was like, come on now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So back to the Predators, or what are we on? Predators. There's so many variations of it.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to Alien.
I thought it was really cool too when they stumbled into the pred camp. There was a Predator skull laying on the ground.
I did notice that, because I was gonna write that down, because I was like, before I knew that Predator was tied up to the thing.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
I was like, "There's a Predator skull. There's a helmet. There's a wait a
Yeah, it
minute."
was just full of like Predator trash and like a bunch of dead bodies and skins and bones. Like
Yeah.
it looked like a death camp basically.
Yeah, like
things
cannibal,
were,
looking camp type thing.
Things were sent there to die.
40 minutes in though, African warlord dies.
Yeah, dude, he dies
from
pretty
the trap spear.
brutal,
6 left,
dude.
Six
Yeah.
left at this point.
Like 3 spears just come up from the ground and impale this dude like 3
I thought he was
different
gonna.
ways.
I don't know why, because he was alive as they were like shooting and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out Adrian Brody's character
yeah,
is like
yeah.
off in the woods.
Yeah, because
shooting.
basically he set him up because they came up with the plan that if something's hunting us, we need to find it and kill it first before it finds us, because it's obvious it's picking us off one by one. It's already killed one of our guys. We need to find it and kill it because we're on another planet. How are we going to get off? We got to find the ship, because how else did they get here? And then when they go to this Predator camp, Topher realizes like, oh, hey, where's the big guy or whatever, which he's talking about Adrian Brody. At first, I didn't realize that until after I realized he was gone.
Yeah.
And then a Predator, a Predator shows up, and that's what springs the trap, I think, because then it starts firing at them, and then they start firing back, right?
Warlord backs up and triggers the trap.
Oh, okay.
And then
the Predator starts
everything,
firing?
yeah. Because obviously they've been watching him the whole time.
Yeah, because it all hell breaks loose just basically all at once. And then it turns out that Adrian Brody had set them up as basically bait to lure the Predators to them, and then he was hiding in the woods to try to get the jump on him, but he didn't know what he was looking for.
And then did you notice this scene as they were rolling down the mountain into a giant pool of water next to a waterfall?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow, this looks
very reminiscent.
Exactly like the first film.
Yeah, because essentially they realize they're outmatched and they run, and then, they slide down a hill, fall into a big pool of water, and then climb up onto the thing.
I did notice there was one thing. Now I'm looking back at this, and I was like, why do they never use this again? We get to see a flying heat sensor drone.
Yeah.
And that never comes into play ever again.
Yeah, he doesn't use it to track them.
Yeah, because I was like, man, you could have saved yourself a lot of time. Then again, the Predators were pretty much like on them the whole time.
Yeah.
So
they didn't really need it.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably using it. They just I guess it was to more
just kind of let you know, like,
audience,
this is how they were tracking them.
That this is, they are not getting away because there's all this stuff.
Yeah, because we get the 3 Predator reveal right here.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
right
always
here,
travel in packs of 3s. I gave them all nicknames.
Oh, nice. But then she goes, so Adrian Brody looks at the girl, because the girl is just yelling at him about how, like, you set us up, you bastard, this and that.
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, yeah? Well, how come you don't tell him what you know? And then they're all like, look over at him, and he's like, yeah, she knows. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because I was noticing that. I was wondering if she was actually going to go into some dialogue when they were at the tomb, where the Predator is tied up on, or the totem where the Predator is tied on, and she looks at him like she knows what it is, but then doesn't say anything. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that was just the scene they used. But then this happens, and I'm like, oh, she did know. She does know. And this is the part where she says this line that makes me go, how close to this is this to the Predators? Or the Predator? Yeah, is it the Predator? The Predator. The last movie we watched.
Right.
No. Yes. The Predator. She goes, we don't have a name for them. So she knows information, because then she starts going into all this dialogue about 1987 is mentioned, and then mentions that one dude survived and he covered himself in mud and blah 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 and this and that. She doesn't mention 97 though.
I'm assuming though it's because she's from Mexico. So because the first movie took place in Central America.
Yes.
And granted, that other ship in the Predator crashed in Mexico. Those guys got there so quick that I think they covered it up and it didn't get known. Either that, or maybe at that point that girl had already been taken, and who knows when they dropped him on that planet.
That's true.
They could have had him in stasis for years.
Well, she has a modern sniper.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah,
so
it
has
had
to
have
be
been
past the 2010s.
Within the past 10 years probably.
Yeah, because she mentions 87, but doesn't mention Predator 2. and she mentions everything about Arnold Schwarzenegger, like
Yeah,
about
how he got out.
the
they
only thing she
debrief
doesn't
him.
say is what his name was.
Yeah.
I was like, man, why do you not know? So yeah, I don't know where, like, the timeline is definitely wonky when it comes to um, the Predator and Predators, and this one definitely like implies a lot of things.
Yeah, it could even be around the same time or something.
Yeah, they could
you
be
know?
exactly the same time. We just don't know because it could be the same time because the time frame of both these movies on the timeline don't indicate when the years are.
Yeah.
They just say one is after the other. So it could, but 20. So pretty much the time frame we're working is '05 to 2018,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much where we're kind of falling in. But it was weird how she didn't mention like Los Angeles, so that information wasn't given to her at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
Yeah. So I just want to talk about the three predators real quick because
okay, yeah.
they're like pretty big and they're pretty nasty looking and they all have like unique traits. So there's Drone, who had the drone on his little flying drone or whatever,
Okay.
and then I nicknamed one of them Tusk because he had fucking elephant tusk like or boar teeth on
Yeah,
his mask.
he had pretty much the tusks from the warthog pigs.
Yeah, and
Or
it's
from
like
the warthog dogs.
I thought that was so funny because I was just like, what is that guy doing? Man?
Yeah,
like
it's trophies.
you know.
It's
But
trophies.
yeah, and then the other dude, I just called him Skullface because his mask looked like a big skull.
He had a jawbone.
Yeah. And I thought it was funny because it was like, to me, like I'm imagining the predators on their home planet and they're all just hanging out. One of them's probably like, you know what? I think this skull mask is going to look pretty badass, dude.
Yeah,
and he puts
they're
it
gonna
on.
fear me.
Yeah, like I could just see them being like, "Oh, this is gonna be the latest style."
Yeah.
Like I just think it's really funny. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that they look pretty bad, like because there's a total of 4 predators because there's also the one that's tied up that's basically naked and strung up.
But we later on get revealed on why that's happening. But
yeah,
so the crew is all talking to one another, and the prisoner and Topher are sitting next to each other, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't wait to get back home. If I ever get back off this planet, I'm gonna be doing coke and raping bitches." And I was like, "What the what is he saying?" And then Topher is like, "Yeah, man, sounds great."
Yep.
And then
raping bitches.
Yep. And then he sits next to Nikolai and he goes, "I wouldn't hang out with him anymore."
Yep. You're right. And then
or I'd stay away from him or something like that.
Adrian Brody had a pretty good quote here from Hemingway. Him and Isabel are talking, and basically she says something like they're talking about like their past lives or whatever, and she's like, "Oh, like how'd you get so fucked up?" And then he says something. I can't remember the quote exactly. I'm gonna paraphrase it, but essentially like, you don't know what it's like to hunt or truly hunt something until you've hunted man, because once you've hunted man, you don't want to hunt anything else. And then she's like, "Oh, did you come up with that yourself?" And he's like, "No, that was actually Hemingway."
Yeah, because isn't that from the what is it? What's that one movie, the adaptation that the Zodiac like copied? Is that what that movie was based on?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Where it was man is the greatest game or something like that.
Oh yeah, the greatest game. Yeah, because there's like they're like hunting a dude. I think they made I think Ice-T's in it.
What?
There's
that's a modern version because there is an older version.
Oh,
of that
okay,
movie
yeah, because
too.
there's one with Ice-T and he's like the dude being hunted.
God, wow.
Yeah,
because like the whole thing is this guy gets stuck on an island, I think, and he finds this guy in the woods as well, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'll help you," blah blah blah, and it turns out like he's the one that put him on the island.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like the reason why he likes it is because he likes getting close to his victim, and then eventually like he springs up on him and goes, "Hey, guess what? I'm the one that's gonna be killing you today," kind of thing. And that's what like the Zodiac killer used.
Oh,
because
okay.
he used it in one of his letters as "man is the greatest game" or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something. Anyway, so yeah, he pretty much says that, and I think that is a Hemingway thing. And then they talk about how they're gonna get the predators to come out and whatever, and he goes, and then Adrian Brody goes, he figures out the way to make you useful or something like that. He says he's talking to Topher,
yeah,
and then he makes Topher like run through the woods, and yeah.
So I know a fun fact too here, real quick, but you keep going real quick.
Okay, and then this like thing is chasing after Topher. Sniper's following it, and Topher's like, "Come on, kill him!" And then and then Sniper shoots, kills this thing, falls on the ground, and then they go, oh yeah, da 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 da, and they look on the ground, and it's not a predator. It's one of those, like, I said killed roach alien.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what this is. It looks like the thing from District 9.
Kind of.
And then she goes, oh yeah, they go, yeah, great shot. And she goes, I missed. And then Morpheus comes out.
That's what I put because at first you hear the quotes, it goes, turn around over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and they're all freaking out, and they're like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, because that definitely sounds like a Predator thing. Mm-hmm. But 52 minutes in, Morpheus
then
is
he
back.
pops up. Yep.
Yeah, and or Morpheus is in, and I go back to 7 because they've now bumped their numbers up.
Yeah, because he's wearing a Predator mask, and he's got like a Predator gun kind of thing that he kind of makeshift
Lawrence
put together.
Fishburne, if you want to know who that is. But anyway, I called him Morpheus because a lot of people refer to him as Morpheus.
I called him Morpheus. I just call him Crazy Morpheus. And so
I loved his character, man.
The fun fact right here, though, is so that roach alien, that's what the original Predator design was supposed to be.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was supposed to be this weird kind of, like, it got tweaked a little bit, but
I'm definitely glad they didn't go with that, because that one's like really skinny.
Yeah.
And then Predator is like this chunky.
Runs around with his little hands up. It looks kind of like a weird little dinosaur.
Yeah, it looks like one of those aliens from Area 51.
Yeah.
The arcade shooter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I remember
the one they have on the coat. Yeah, man. Dude, I loved Area 51.
I would always put 2 quarters in and use both guns.
Nice. There you go. That's the way. I used to play that at this hamburger place when I lived in Idaho. When my dad was living. Short story. My dad was living in Idaho. He lived in Nampa, and there was this burger place called Squeezers. And nice. I was like, man, this burger place is awesome because they had this like special sauce.
Oh,
it was so good of a burger place. But they had an arcade cabinet. And the one arcade game they had was Area 51. Awesome. You'd have a burger, you play some Area 51, bada bing, there you go.
Nice.
It was awesome. Anyway, the rest of the crew finds a crash-landed ship.
Sorry.
Sorry.
One more thing. Just a good Morpheus quote was because Isabel was like,
dude, there are a ton of good Morpheus quotes. I wrote like 3 of them on here.
Yeah, he had a bunch of good ones because before they leave for this ship that they get on, she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the one that got away. I'm the one you don't fuck with." And then he just leaves, and then like they're just like, "All right, I guess we're following this guy."
Him, yeah. He's a human. We haven't seen anybody. Yeah. 52 minutes in, he shows up. Crash landed ship is apparently Morpheus's base.
Yep.
And he goes, everyone enters in, and he's like, or no, he enters in first, and he goes, "Come on, feel the vibe of this place."
Yeah.
and then this is my favorite line on the whole entire movie. This favorite back and forth thing. He goes, the prisoner walks in there. He's like, "This place is a shithole. You live here?" And he goes, "Oh no, this is my summer home.
Oh yeah,
I winter in Riviera. The schools are much nicer there, and the men, ooh la la."
I laughed out loud when he said that. I forgot all. I kind of like, because I've seen this movie one time before, and I completely forgot about his character. I totally forgot that Morpheus was even in this.
It was definitely a surprise. I did not know he was in here. All I knew was Adrian Brody was in this movie, and Topher.
Oh, okay.
And then there's another line where the prisoner's messing around with his like bullet shield like armor, and he goes. He looks so. Morpheus looks to his right where no one is sitting. He goes, "Oh yeah, I'll tell him. Hey, Agent Orange, some people around here don't like other people touching their shit." Oh man.
Yeah, because the entire time he's having conversations with like Isabel and which is the chick's name that you find out later.
Yeah.
Or with Adrian Brody's character, he's like talking to someone to his right that's not there, but he's like, hold on, I'll tell him, and they're just kind of like, what in the fuck?
Yeah, he's clearly been there a long time.
Yeah, he mentions 10 seasons, but we don't know how long a season is because I'll talk about this once we get towards the end of the movie, but there's no since the sun hasn't moved, we don't know how long a day is on this planet.
Well, at this moment, it's darker. It's getting dark.
Yeah, because I guess.
But we don't. Yeah. But yes, we don't know how long the sun moves, like in the correlation of they could have been walking in the woods for like hours,
Yeah,
but the sun was still in the same spot when they landed.
right.
But we don't know how long they were in the woods. And
Yeah,
all
because
this.
by the time they got to like towards the end of the movie, that's when it was nighttime, and it had clearly been at least a day, if not longer, like by this point, because they had like I don't know how long they were in the ship with Morpheus, but they had holed up there for a little while too.
Yeah.
So because they were getting food and they just kind of resting and stuff, so that could have been maybe an hour or two.
They
But-
do mention Morpheus throws out a lot of information about all this,
yes,
but he
yeah.
does it rapid fire, which is literally
exposition dump on this.
yeah. Because
this
I'm
part.
like, yes, thank you. Like, tell me all the information. Move on. There are two types of predators.
Yep.
Which is new. We've not seen two types of predators before. Well, we did in the last movie, I guess, but that
Yeah,
was
but they don't-
not as much
they
as
don't
what
really
we saw in this one.
Yeah, and they don't really specify in the last movie that there are two types per se, because even though in the last movie there's that bigger predator, they don't necessarily say, "Oh, he's a different predator."
Well, yeah, because if we look at it, that predator didn't look. Other than the fact that he was one tall dude,
Yeah.
he doesn't look different.
Right. Like he
This
just looks like a
one-
bigger version of a regular
This
predator.
one definitely. They
Yes.
do not look the same
No.
at all, which is why I stopped referring to him as predator and I referred to him as a hunter.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if that was the actual thing.
I just called him Super Pred.
Yeah, because they don't look the same. Because we eventually do see the mask get taken off to indicate that there are two different predators.
Mm-hmm.
But the predator that we all know is the one that's tied to the
Yes.
monolith totem thing.
Mm-hmm.
They always come back in threes, like you mentioned earlier, which makes sense. Indicates what all the movies we've seen.
Yes.
They've all traveled in threes,
Yeah, and so
except in the first and second one.
I'm assuming that these are predators that have come of age much early. You know, they've already done all that stuff, and they're basically this place is just a sport hunt.
Yeah, this
Like,
is
they're
where
just here to have
This is where
fun.
they come. I also think this calls back to AVP and AVPR because
Oh, yeah.
or actually AVP because they mentioned the three thing,
Mhm.
which is something that they. I don't know. They don't ever mention ever in any of the other Predator movies because Predator and Predator 2, there's only one of them.
Yeah. That I think, and it's, you know, and I'm kind of no, that happens 10 years later. I wonder if maybe that was like 87 maybe was initial contact, and they were just sending scouts like 87, 97. They were scouting out the terrain and stuff, and then, but I guess with AVP they've been coming since way back when. So I guess maybe they were just looking to expand, or maybe they were just kind of checking the planet here and there, kind of seeing what was going on around other parts of the world. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
but after essentially number 2, yeah, they're like in threes most of the time.
He also mentions that they do come back every season, which indicates that means because, like you said, he's been there for 10 seasons.
Yeah,
That means he's been there for 10 times they've done this.
yeah, and so
and he survived it.
yeah, and so who knows? A season on that planet, say 1 week to us, could be like 3 weeks to them, and then if it happens multiple times in their planetary year, there,
Actually, it'd be reversed
like,
because if the time
know.
is going slower, it's probably longer there than it is on Earth.
yeah, no, that's what I said. 1 week here is like 3 weeks there.
No, 3 weeks there.
Is-
Oh yes. Okay, I guess. No.
Yeah, if it's only 1 week, it'd be 3 weeks. Like 3 weeks there, it'd be slower.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. I guess
I'm
that
just
makes
saying.
more sense.
I'm just saying it like the opposite.
Yeah.
of what you're
No.
saying.
Yeah. I'm like trying to figure it out, but yeah, I guess ours. And then this I wrote this down. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is between Morpheus and Topher. Oh no. Sorry. This is another Morpheus line where he goes, "This whole time I never thought about." Oh yeah. So Adrian Brody goes, "Hey,
Oh,
like where
right,
do you know how to
yeah.
get to the ship?" And he's like,
yeah.
"What?" He goes, this whole time I never thought about commandeering the alien spaceship. Do you know how to fly the
Yeah.
spaceship? And he's just like,
And then he leans to his right
totally-
and he's talking to his invisible friend. He's like, he knows how to fly the ship.
I was like, oh man, that's definitely pretty good. He's one of my favorite characters this whole film.
I just want to point out that, I think pretty much after that, is that when Morpheus goes to sleep or whatever? He's like,
He lays down, but then everyone is still like communicating to one another, so that we get more character development.
Okay,
for
yeah,
this.
I just want to make sure I didn't miss any more good stuff, because the Russian dude pulls out his wallet or picture or whatever from his wallet, and he's like, "Hey, look at my kids," and I'm like, "Oh, he's the next one to die." Like as soon as he pulled that picture out, I was like, "He's gonna die."
Yeah, Nikolai, Topher, and the prisoner are sitting next to each other, and then he does that, and then he goes, "Oh yeah," and so Topher takes the picture. He goes, "Can I see?" Takes the picture and he starts looking at it, and then prisoner goes. He lifts his shirt up. He goes, "I got one of them," and he looks at it. He goes, "Yeah, this is so and so." And then he look at them titties or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" He goes, "No, it's my sister."
Yeah.
And there's this like awkward pause of like, what? What is that? Anyway, because it's this naked girl on his chest. This is weird. Anyway,
and then I think so. Topher gets up and wanders away from that conversation. Ends up going to talk to Yakuza, who finds a samurai sword. Against the wall, and then Yakuza actually speaks English. This is like the first time he talks in the entire movie.
Yeah, which I think is like almost an hour into the movie. Yeah, it's an hour into the movie.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, the sword's very old, blah blah blah. It's been here a long time." And then Topher's like, "Oh, you speak English?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You should really talk more." And then he lifts up his hand, which he's missing 2 fingers from, and he's like, "I already talked too much." And it's like, "Damn,
and he's smiling,
dude.
And then Topher's like, "Ah,"
yeah,
and then walks away.
he knows how to pick them, huh? But yeah, I guess I was reading up on that. Apparently, the Yakuza, if you commit like some kind of crime or you squeal or whatever, they cut your fingers off.
Against the Yakuza.
Yes. Yeah, if like you're in the clan or whatever and you commit a crime against your own people or whatever, they cut off your finger starting with the right hand from the pinky all the way up, and I guess those are like sword-wielding fingers or something, or maybe it's from the left hand. I think it was on his left hand. So, but yeah, you have it's supposed to be able to control a sword, so the less fingers you have, the less control you have over swords, so it's easier to die, essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then so Adrian Brody and the girl are talking to one another, and then she drops. You'll probably have more about this, but then she drops this line of, "It's because we are the predators, just like them." And I was like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she was like, like the only thing I didn't like about her character.
Remember, folks, the name of this movie is Predators. So when she says we're the Predators, just like them, I was like, roll the credits.
Yeah. She was a little too like. She was supposed to be like the moral center, but there were some times where like she was kind of getting on a soapbox a little bit, like, "Oh, we're the bad people. Oh, we're this and that." And it's like, okay, like you're just trying to survive. You know, like calm down. Like just take it down a notch.
That eventually bites her in the ass later.
But yeah. They do make a reference to a couple times it's been said, because they're talking about the other predator and they're trying to figure out what to do, right? And then Adrian Brody comes up with a plan. He's like, "Oh, I'm still gonna go for the ship," and she's like, "Oh, like what do you mean you can't fly it?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I know somebody who might." And she's like the other predator or whatever. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go free that one predator on the rock." And then he's like, "The enemy of my enemy," and she's like, "Doesn't necessarily make it your friend," you know. And so
which was called back to AVP.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And so it's like they kind of twist that one a little bit. If anything, my favorite thing about the series is how they take some of those lines and then they kind of turn them on their head a little bit, but it's still referencing previous movies.
Yeah.
So it's always nice, you know.
And then they get a nice little clam bake going on in there.
Yeah.
Morpheus decides to light a fire and smoke these guys out.
All of a sudden they smell smoke and they're like, "What the hell, fire?"
Yeah. And then Adrian Brody shoots something and explodes off of the ship, and then the predators look over and they're like, "Oh!" And
did you catch the thing when Morpheus is like blowing the smoke in or whatever? He looks to his right and he's talking to his friend. And he's like, "You see what kind of crazy shit you got me into? 6 mouths to feed. I can barely even feed the 2 of us."
Yeah, I remember.
He's so freaking out.
I remember that part. Oh man.
Yeah, and so Adrian Brody fires a bomb or something, and it like sets off the sensors like for the predators because they
it explodes the ship. There's a part of the ship that it like explodes off, and then that immediately triggers that because they're still looking for him. They lost him, and then all of a sudden they see that and they're like, "Oh, well there he is," and then they go off, and I wrote, Predator finds Morpheus an hour and 8 minutes in, and now we're back to 6 because he goes, so and so finally caught up with me, or blah blah blah, after all this time or something. Because he gives it a name. He actually named it too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I can't remember what he says. And then then Morpheus, then he just explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
And there's another quote too here, like right before Morpheus runs off, when Adrian Brody does shoot that thing, instead of saying "say hello to my little friend," he says "say goodbye to your little friend," because he's referencing Morpheus's invisible friend.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's when he's talking, and then that's when he shoots the thing and blows it up. And then the predator that ends up coming is Tusk, the one with the little things on his on it. Yeah, just so that way we have a reference for which predators are around. Because you don't see the other two at this point. It's just
no,
the
it's
one.
just this one. Because I think they've all split up to try and find them all.
Yeah.
And then Predator lets them out of the room? Question mark?
Yeah.
Because it was really weird. I was like, there's no way that they're gonna get out of here. And then all of a sudden, like, this happens.
Yeah,
like, they're
he kind
able
of
to leave.
bursts the door in a little bit and then just takes off. And
Yeah, enough
Adrian
for
Brody,
them to leave, to get out of it, and then they all leave.
And he does mention, like, he just kind of it was like a throwaway line. He's like, he's toying with us, and then it was like, but he wasn't, because he left you guys alone.
Yeah,
kind
I don't
of.
know why because he clearly could hear, because they were smacking on the door the whole time.
Yeah.
And then finally, like, it just busts open because the Predator let him out. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah.
And then they're all trying to run away, and then I go, Topher literally looks away for a second and then gets separated.
It was such a weird transition because it looked like he walked into a completely different room.
Yeah,
like,
I was like, what kind of freaking house of mirrors is this? Like, how did you get separated?
Them.
Like, you were literally touching Nikolai, and then all of a sudden, poof, they're gone.
Yeah, and then he ends up next to him in a separate hallway through like a sort of see-through.
Yeah, I was like, what kind of Batman Arkham Asylum situation is this, where you're on the other side of the fence? Yeah. Anyway, what I did find cool is that he busted out blue flares.
Yeah.
I was like, blue flares? That's interesting. I never
he was
saw
just
a blue
kind
flare before.
Yeah, and he's kind of just throwing them around or whatever.
Yeah, and then eventually he tosses it, and it hits Tusk, is what you refer to him as? Yeah. It hits him, and then all of a sudden he starts glowing with all the blue. And like you said, they got separated, and Topher's like, come on, guys, help me out. And they're like, they look at him, and it was kind of like, I don't know, I can't remember what scene it is in Toy Story where they're like, oh yeah, when Toy Story, when Woody is like, has the Slinky Dog or whatever, or
he's on the other side of
the lights. Yeah, they're in Sid's house. He's like, come on.
Yeah,
yeah,
because Nikolai's on the other side of the wall, like right next to him, and he's like, Nikolai, come on, you got to get me out of here.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, and then he's like.
Yeah,
like he does like the I'm sorry, bro, and then he runs out.
Yeah, and they just take off.
And I'm like, well, yeah. And then
survival of the fittest, I suppose.
Yeah, he does come back. I said Russia goes back to save Topher.
He finds like another path to get to him and ends up coming behind Topher, and then like dives out of the way because does the Predator shoot at them?
I think so. Yeah,
at
a point.
Yeah, and he ends up.
And then
that's right.
When
he
they're running
away.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they're running away. And I'm like, Topher, what an asshole. He totally, like, as soon as Nikolai gets shot, Topher keeps running.
Oh, yeah, because he gets shot in the arm because he's trying to hold him off.
Yeah, and then he gets blasted in the stomach, and then now Nikolai's, like, crawling on the ground. And then Topher, like, runs through the, like, turn thing that everyone went through, and now is on the side of this wall and left.
Yeah, he just left him there.
Because this is all signs of something that is being hidden that we don't know about yet. And then Russia suicide bombs with a claymore that it was a strap to himself.
And here's where
now we're down to 5.
And this is where they say you're one ugly motherfucker.
Oh, he does say that. Oh, he says it in Russian.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
And then he dies. And then it's like, what the fuck did he just say? And then I was looking at IMDb, and it was like cleverly hidden line, blah blah blah. Like Nikolai says you're one ugly motherfucker in Russian before he dies, and I was like, oh, that's where it was.
Nice.
And
okay.
I don't know if there's like a subtitle to it, or if you can maybe
if someone speaks Russian, they could understand it.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, because maybe if you turn on subtitles, maybe it would say like in Russian, so and so, whatever.
Yeah.
But who knows?
But that happens an hour and 14 minutes in. So we're actually doing still pretty good. We're still under the nose here. Prisoners stabs. Oh yes. So Tusk comes out.
Because they're out of the ship at this point.
Yes, and they're all like grouped up together, and all of a sudden, they're like, Oh, because they see the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Tusk that dies up there in the explosion.
Yes.
And then another predator shows up.
I think it's Drone who's following him at this point.
Yeah, because the last one is what's his face. But Drone shows up, and because they're all like, yeah, because Prisoner's like, yeah, man, we killed him. We killed him. Yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden, blasted in the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's just this like so much so that his like whole back is just melted, so you can see like through the like rib cage. And I was like, damn. And then he like jumps on and just starts stabbing him while the others start running away.
Yeah, because they're all freaking out thinking he died, and then as like Drone kind of approaches him slowly, like predators do, the prisoner jumps on his back, pulls out a shank, and just starts stabbing him in the chest. And he's like, "You want to fuck with me, motherfucker? I'll fucking stab you. I'll fucking gut you." And he's like stabbing him or whatever. And then the predator throws him down on the ground, and then like I think he blows his head off or something. He like shoots him or kills him.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, basically nondescript kills him. He basically blows him apart like they all do. But then that's when all the other guys get a chance to run away.
Oh yeah, I wrote prisoner stabs predator at an hour and 15 minutes in.
Oh no!
And then he goes, "Come on, come on!" And then he's because he kept saying that over and over again.
Yeah,
and then gets his spine ripped out of his.
How could I forget that? Because I wrote that down. Yeah, he's still alive. The predator reaches his hand into his back and rips his spine and skull out while he's still. It was basically a Sub-Zero fatality.
Yeah, and then I go 4 left.
Yeah, dude, that was a hardcore death.
And then we see something that's also a little bit of remnants to the first Predator movie. Yakuza looks at Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then they go, "Yep, okay, all right."
He pulls
and then he turns around and he just pulls his sword out. And this is what Billy was his name? Yeah, in the first Predator movie. And he stays to fight the drone. He stays to fight Drone, which I said Yakuza stays to fight Predator in an awesome sword battle.
And this is so cool because like I really wish they would have done this in the first movie.
Exactly. They gave us what we wanted in this movie, even from the first movie that we've already given a higher rating to.
Yeah. And it was cool because the Predator basically pulled out his giant blade on his right arm. Because he's only got one blade, and then essentially Yakuza's got his sword, and then they get into an old school samurai sword fight.
I know. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then they do the classic like,
and
then runs and he slices,
swing.
and he slices Predator in half, but then he finds out that like, oh shit,
I
got stabbed too.
Yeah,
and
that's
die.
My favorite. They both just fall over in like a poetic death.
Yeah, Yakuza didn't get cut in half though, as far as I remember.
Yeah, I think he just got his gut like basically just cut open.
Yeah, he got cut. But yeah, so I go tit for tat kill. Yakuza dies. 3 left. And then they're running in the woods, and then Topher gets his ass caught in a bear trap.
Yeah. And then like they're like, dude, well, Adrian Brody's like, dude, he's dead weight, we gotta leave him.
Yeah, we gotta leave him. You're just gonna want to keep him here.
Yeah, because the trap was not made to break his ankle, it was just made to maim him so that way he would hobble, leave a trail, slow him down. And then he's like, dude, we can't take him. And then Topher pulls out the picture of Nikolai's kids.
Yeah, what an asshole.
He's like, dude, don't leave me here. I got kids, you know? And it was like, oh, sneaky. Like, he's like using some of the things that he had or whatever to try to
a lot of this stuff is starting to get revealed about Topher's character.
Yeah, he's been kind of a weird guy throughout the movie and like really quiet, and then like because he agreed to leave Danny Trejo's character. Anytime they're trying to escape or whatever, he's usually like trying not to be the bait, but they usually make him be the bait. He's trying to like stay away from any of the predators or whatever, and then he's like really like more so than anybody else, he's quizzing a lot of the people. He's asking them about their background and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, he does talk to the most amount of characters,
so
by far out of the whole rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And then we get to see the Predator face. Oh yeah, we say so. Adrian Brody says, "Fine, fuck y'all," not literally, and then he just leaves.
Yeah.
Where Sniper and Topher are still there because Sniper's trying to get Topher out of the bear trap and whatever. So Adrian Brody like shows up back at the Predator camp, and he unties Predator, and I go, Predator face plant at an hour and 23 minutes. He eats shit.
He fell so hard, like he bounced off the ground.
I know. I was like, damn, man, pay that extra, like that guy that played Predator a couple extra $100 because he probably ate it. Because he's like, they probably were like, hey, we're gonna drop you from like 5 feet So just so you know, you can't use your hands. You have to fully face plant into the ground. I don't care how cushy that costume is. He probably felt that one because I was on the floor in the jungle, so wherever they're at. But yeah. And then I wrote Hunter Predator fights captured Predator for the first time.
Oh well, don't forget they capture the doctor and the chick in a net before they end up.
Before that happens?
Yeah, because he drags him back.
Tosses him back into a hole.
Yeah, because that's how he gets back. Because Skullface is the last Predator, Super Predator or whatever, and he captures because the girl's running away with Topher, and then they get caught in a net. He gets them, pulls the net down, drags them back to this camp, and throws them in a hole, and then notices that the other Predators like free. And the other Predator at this point had put on some armor and a mask or whatever.
So now he looks like a normal Predator.
Yeah,
at this point.
and I'm going to say, like, this was pretty cool because essentially, like, Adrian Brody, when he's cutting him down, he's like, okay, like, he pulls out his knife and the Predator's like, he's like, are you going to try to kill me or whatever? And then he's like, no, like, you know what I'm here for. You know how to fly that ship. And then he cuts him down, and then the Predator, like, grabs him by the neck, and he's, like, checking out his skull for a second. Then he kind of lets him go, and he's like, okay, he let me go.
Yeah.
But then when the Super Predator shows up, the Predator,
well, he's not a Super Predator. He's just a different, race, maybe?
Yeah,
I
didn't know what to call him.
I just know he's bigger,
Predator,
but I even wrote down here, where does it say?
I think the only reason why I was calling Super Predator is because I think that's what Lawrence Fishburne's character referred to him as.
Oh, okay. I wrote Hunter Predator looks like Arbiter from Halo.
Kind of. Yeah.
So I don't know how else to refer to him. He does not look like a Predator. He does not look remotely anywhere near how he looked. His head's totally different than what the Predator that we've been seeing this whole time. But at this fight, I wrote PvP.
Oh yeah, that's funny. When he shows up, little Predator. Like he moves Adrian Brody out of the way like he's like a woman. He's like, get back, I'll protect you, and he like puts his hand on his chest and like pushes him back.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh my god, it was so funny because then Brody's just like, oh okay, and then he starts running towards the ship, and little Predator and big Predator get into a big fight.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard when I saw it. I was like, oh, little Adrian Brody, like he's gonna be protected by Predator.
Yeah. So at this time, before the Hunter Predator shows up, or Big Predator, the Predator that we know is using like his wrist thing to turn on the ship that apparently has some remote access to his wristband.
Yes.
And the ship is already like being activated, so Adrian Brody like runs to it so he can like get on the ship and whatever. And anyway, so the fight happens, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and then
it's a pretty decent fight.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent fight. And then Hunter. It was the first time we've ever seen Predators fight each other, other than I guess you could say like in the last movie.
Like
the Predator.
but in real life, like when these came out,
like a regular Predator and Predator, fighting each other like normal size, like pretty equal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess technically we saw it in the last movie too, but whatever. But yeah, and then the Hunter Predator cuts Predator's head off.
Yeah,
and I was like, damn.
Yeah, dude, he didn't take it easy on him. Like they got into a pretty decent scrap, but yeah, that little Predator didn't stand a chance. And that they take off their mask before that happens, right?
Before they kill, the Hunter takes his mask off. That's how we know that he looks like.
Because the other one
looks like Arbiter.
Yeah, because the other one gets smashed off his face.
Yes,
and then the big one, he takes his mask off. Because I'm assuming that the Predators have a thing where it's like before you kill anything, you have to take your mask off.
Yeah, you got to look face to face.
Yeah, you got to look it in the eyes. And so he takes his mask off, looks at the other Predator, and is like, bah! And he's got this big like bug head.
Yeah,
it's so weird looking.
But yeah, and then we cut to. No pun intended, to the hole because
right.
Topher is like, if you had another chance, would you try to like save me again? Blah blah blah, and she's like, yeah, I would. And then he's like, oh, that's nice. He goes, too bad, or something or other, and then he takes his scalpel that he got the poison from, and he scrapes the top neck of Sniper, and she starts to become paralyzed, and he starts going into his backstory of like. This and that and the other deal.
She was gonna made him do or like she said if they come to kill us or whatever I'll kill us both, make sure it's quick, and then he was like no you won't, and then that's when he cut her.
That's right. Right.
I thought that was like, oh damn, that's creepy as fuck.
So it turns out that Topher, he may be a doctor, but he is a serial killer.
Yeah.
Is what his background of being why the Predators chose him, because everybody is known to kill people with the weapons that they are given. So why did Topher get there? He's the only odd man out. Well, it turns out everyone has this line of military, or he was a prisoner, or this and that. He's also a murderer, but he's smart with it, so he's a serial killer. Yeah. And it's like, damn, this motherfucker's crazy.
I think it's so funny how he admits it too, because it totally reminded me of that '70s show. Because he's like, yeah, I kill people. I'm a murderer. And I'm on a planet full of monsters.
His voice
changed
and all this and that. It was really like, not Ted Bundy, but who's the other guy? The one that ate people.
Oh, Dahmer?
Yeah, he definitely had like a Jeffrey Dahmer like mentality. It switched. Like, it was just like a boom. He's like this weird dude. Anyway, at this moment in time, it kind of pans back out, and the hunter then just like he sees the ship starting to take off, and he goes beep beep, and then it just explodes, and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah, it's like, damn,
right,
man.
then.
Well, I guess that's his character. I guess the chick's gonna be the one to come out of this, or maybe
I
Topher. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, Hunter blows up Adrian Brody's ship.
Yeah,
and then I go, it's a twist.
Yeah,
he isn't dead, because as Topher's like monologuing into whatever the fuck he's doing,
I think he's getting ready to kill.
No, he's getting ready to rape her.
Oh.
He says that.
That's
he's like
right.
implying all these things.
Yeah,
because
he's like, you're gonna feel everything.
Yeah, you're
gonna
feel all this.
She's only paralyzed, but she's not like numb.
Yeah. Well, probably.
Well, like she
can't move.
Yeah, like her muscles don't work because it's a neurotoxin. So it's like it's all in her nerves. So she can't communicate to her body, but she can feel everything. Yeah, it's like really strange how that works. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like this. Yeah, he's about to do that, and then all of a sudden, then I go, man, what a freaking weird callback to the whole raping and cocaine thing. I was like, man, this dude was actually, because remember, when he says that, when the prisoner says that, he says cocaine and raping, but then the Topher only repeats, raping bitches. Like, he only says that. And I'm like, okay, weird. Because, like, in that moment, you're finding that the prisoner is weird. Right. But then if you recall back, you're like, dude, I think you actually do that. Like, you're the weird dude.
Yeah, they drop, like, little clues throughout the movie.
To indicate that he is one weird dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Adrian Brody shows up, and he's, like, catches him at the very end. But luckily, he doesn't catch, like, the full thing that
he doesn't hear what
Topher's saying and whatnot. So
and then Topher's like, "Oh, hey, you're back. You survived." And he's like, "Yeah, I decided to come back or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, cool. Help us out."
Yeah, and I wrote, digs them both out.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is coming up. Like, so basically, I mean, because it's immediately after this, they're like kind of hobbling away from this hole or whatever, and Adrian Brody's like dragging Isabel because she's paralyzed, and lays her down, and then he's like trying to help her, and then Topher's like, "Oh, that's really cool that you came back, man. Like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have come back. You really are one of the good guys." And he's pulling out his scalpel, getting ready to stab him, and then Adrian Brody's like, "No, I'm not one of the good guys." And he jumps up, grabs the scalpel, stabs it through Topher's neck, and he goes, "But I'm fast." And it's like, dude, that was so cold, man. Like,
I wrote, Topher goes to stab Adrian, but reverses it and stabs him in the throat.
It like, oh, dude, when he said that line, I got chills. I was like, damn, dude. Like, he's... like, when I think back on this, I'm like, I really liked his character.
No, he's definitely like I think it goes Adrian Brody's character and then Morpheus.
Yes,
like his character, and then I'd probably go with as my top three, probably Yakuza.
Yeah, he was pretty.
Because he had
cool.
a really cool scene. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was my top three of this whole movie. And then we get I wrote Heat Vision is the best of this movie, just so I didn't forget, but because we see like an outlined, detailed version of Topher in his Heat Vision.
Oh yeah, because he's still alive. Like, Brody didn't kill him; he just stabbed it up far enough to basically like have him bleed through his neck or like his bottom jaw, but he doesn't kill him. He's still like barely hanging on.
Yeah, and then Hunter Predator comes out and he takes his blade and
and
stabs him.
Stabs him straight through his chest, or
he goes,
through his back, I guess.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, and then just enough to see if Topher was still alive.
Yeah.
So instead of like kicking Topher, he just stabs him to see if he's alive, and then Topher dies in a grand explosion. Is what I wrote.
And I thought it was funny too because he's all like, "Don't kill me, I'm one of you," and then he turns him over and he's got all these grenades strapped to his chest and he just explodes. But the Predator doesn't die; he just gets blown back, like because he ends up getting up or whatever. And then you notice a nice callback here.
Yeah, where he's in the mud. He's like dressed in the mud.
Yep.
And then Adrian goes, "Come on, kill me, do it now."
He's standing in front of a bunch of fire like Arnold was, covered in mud.
34-minute mark,
holding the torch, fucking ripped as all hell.
Yeah.
He put on 25 pounds of muscle for this movie.
Wow, I didn't
know. Dude.
He definitely looks a lot more ripped in this than King Kong.
Yeah.
So I don't
and granted, he's not your conventional like action hero, but like he's more convincing to me because he's like a regular sized buff guy. He's not like
he's not
like Arnold
ripped.
buff.
He's in shape.
Yeah, he's just really cut.
Yeah, I would say cut. Yeah. Well, cut is like Chris Evans is cut.
I guess he wasn't.
He was in shape. I would say he's in shape.
It wasn't all glamour muscles. Yeah. It was like actually like workout muscles.
Yeah,
so
he obtained it within like a couple of months, kind of thing.
Yeah,
he wasn't cut like Marvel cut. Like he's like totally ripped out of his mind. But anyway, and then I said Adrian kills Hunter with an axe and cuts his head off.
Oh yeah, because they're fighting around the camp. He lit a bunch of stuff on fire to kind of fuck with his vision because, they use heat so he can't see as well. And Adrian Brody's like doing this thing where it's like, I called it flash combat, where he started on one side, would run by, hit the Predator real quick and speed on by. The Predator would be all disoriented and then he'd run from another spot, hit him. And then eventually I think the Predator caught wind of it and caught him. And then they're kind of fighting. But then the sniper starts getting feeling back and she's able to crawl over to her gun. She loads her gun and then shoots the Predator, like gets a chest shot or a heart shot or whatever, and the Predator falls down and he's all like weakened. And then Adrian Brody picks up the axe and then chops his head off.
Just a little bit before that, because this part I just remembered, it was kind of cool, was since Adrian was covered in mud, he can't use heat vision.
Oh, right.
So when he hides behind a tree and the hunter predator switches over to like sound or something like that.
He was
and
he can
see the heartbeat, and you can notice that Adrian's like, oh shit, because he can't slow his heart rate down, and so he jumps off and it explodes this whole like tree.
And I totally forgot to mention that one of the coolest parts about Skullface is that he has a little Gatling cannon on his shoulder, so every time he went to fire his gun, it was like do 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 do.
I didn't notice that part.
It didn't have to charge up like the normal Predator's guns. His was just like it was like maybe a 3 or 4 barrel gun, and it would shoot out a few bullets at a time. And then when Adrian Brody gets found out, he's like, oh shit, and then he's just like da 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 da, like lining it up, blowing up a bunch of spots, because like as Adrian Brody, I thought what was going to happen was as he was running around, he was sweating and all the mud was like kind of running off of him. I thought the Predator was going to see him ducking behind some trees and then fire at a tree like ahead of time or something. But then he switched to that audible detector or whatever, and then he could see the little pulse of his heartbeat, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was a new filter that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
And then after Hunter gets killed and whatnot, then
he chops his head off.
Yeah,
dude.
it is clean cut in half. Then Adrian Brody and the girl are like looking at each other, and they finally introduce themselves. An hour and 38 minutes into this movie, they finally say their names of like, my name is Royce, and then the girl says, my name's Isabel, and that's the first time you hear them say their names to one another, and I'm like, damn. And then they like fall asleep on each other while they're sitting up or whatever, and then they get up and they look up into the sky and they see new parachutes starting to fall down, and I go, man, there he goes. And then Adrian Brody says, now let's find a way off this fucking planet. And then it cuts to black, and then you hear the Predator growl, and then that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, and it's totally like, it seems like it would be a cliffhanger. Like they were like, okay, well, if we're gonna make a sequel, we'll have it be about these two trying to get off the planet, and then obviously more people are falling down, so maybe they would team up like a new crew or something.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that this was like, you could definitely like keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I think this would have been a really good TV show.
Yeah, yeah, it could have been, for
if
sure.
they ever
'Cause
wanted to do it.
yeah.
But I know that could also ruin this movie though too. So I just wanted to, before we head into well, I can do the rating scale later. So
The last thing
go ahead.
from me is when the credits start rolling, they play the song from the chopper. So in the
That's
80s,
another thing.
yeah,
They never mention the chopper in this movie too,
yeah. There's no chopper
because
and
they wouldn't need to. But
yeah.
there wasn't like a forced get to the chopper like.
Yeah. There's like, yeah, because the only thing that they had was the ship. I don't know if they ever say like get to the ship or anything, but
They might have said that. Yeah.
but yeah, it could have been in passing. But when the credits roll, they play the song from when they're in the chopper the first time in '87, and they're heading to the jungle, and it's when the one dude's chewing the tobacco, and he's like, "I'm a motherfucking sexual tyrannosaur," or whatever.
Oh yeah,
And
that's Jesse, the Body Ventura, saying that.
yeah, and it's the song that's playing in the background when they're in the chopper. Like, whoa, hey baby, or whatever, and it's playing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's playing
right,
during
yeah.
the credits, which was a good callback to, or a nice homage.
Woo!
Like, yeah, because it's like the last Predator movie in the timeline too, especially. Basically, that was the song from the first one. It's like it came full circle, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
So that's the end of Predators.
Yep. So
Yeah, and so now we head over to the IMDb corner where we go and we just read off all the information that we can. Again, we're not sponsored by IMDb. Definitely not denying any of it. But this is just if you guys want to go check this out, just head over, just download IMDb or go look it up. But I'm gonna read you 5 facts from the trivia from Predators. Number 1, according to I wanted to say Nimrod, but I know that's not how you pronounce this guy's name. The director and Robert Rodriguez on the commentary in the script, the character Chuchino?
I think that's Machete.
Yeah. I just didn't know how to say his name. Was described as, quote, a guy that looks like Danny Trejo.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, when Danny Trejo heard this, he called Robert Rodriguez and said, "Hey, I heard there's a guy in the script for Predators who looks like Danny Trejo, and guess what? I look like Danny Trejo." And then the rest is history. Number 2, Hanzo. Oh, Hanzo is the Yakuza guy.
Oh, nice.
Wow, so Hanzo,
like Hanzo
from
Hasashi,
or Hanzo from Overwatch.
or the other Hanzo from Kill Bill.
There you go. Is missing 2 fingers on his left hand. The reason that the Yakuza traditionally cut their fingers starting from the left pinky. Did you read the top ones? Because I'm reading this again. I'll do like an extra
maybe,
2.
Yeah, that might be where I
cut
looked.
is
Yeah, because I think I
these
just looked at the
fingers
first
have
like,
a
couple.
Yeah, have a here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start from the top, and I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, because I didn't look at the first. I just think I looked at the first 2.
Okay, so here we go. We'll start over. Number 1, while filming a fight scene with the MMA fighter Nikolai, hit his face on a Steadicam camera and started bleeding. He insisted that filming continued to add effect to the scene. I don't even remember that. I don't remember that when he was cut open. Number 2, Hanzo's name is a reference to Hachitori Hanzo, a legendary Japanese samurai of the Sengoku era, 1467.
How do you have these organized?
I'm like way scrolled down. I randomly scrolled.
Oh, okay.
1467 to 1573 AD. Hachitori Hanzo is also the name of Shinichi's Chiba's character in Kill Bill. Okay, Volume 1, 2003, which was written and directed by Robert Rodriguez, good friend of Quentin Tarantino.
I thought
so
it was
there you
Hanzo
go.
Hasashi was his name.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you referenced that, and that was the reason why he was named Hanzo, based on the Robert Rodriguez character from Kill Bill.
Because I didn't even know Robert Rodriguez made. Yeah, because I just remember them making a big deal about that in Kill Bill. They were all like, "Oh, this is a Hanzo sword" or whatever, and then she went and got a sword made by him.
Huh.
And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Like I always liked that character. He was really, really cool.
I've never seen this film.
Kill Bill?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, we're gonna have to do a Quentin Tarantino season because he's
Number
got like,
3.
he's got like 8 movies out.
Number 3, Lawrence Fishburne filmed for just 2 days.
Oh wow. Well, I guess he was only in the movie for like 20 minutes.
Number 4, Hanzo only speaks in one scene and has a total of 3 lines of dialogue, and he has one of the most badass scenes of the whole friggin' film. And number 5, Nolan claims to have been on the planet. Nolan. Oh, is that Nikolai? No, that's That's Lawrence Fish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Lawrence
that's Lawrence
Fishburne's
Fishburne.
character.
Nolan claims to have been on the planet between 7 to 10 seasons. In Earth time, he has been there
Oh.
for all at most a little over 2 years.
Oh, okay. So, well, that's okay, cool. At least that kind of gives us an idea.
Here's a fun fact since I. Oh, actually, I'm going to give you two more fun facts since I read those two facts that we already knew. So, fun fact, bonus fact: the original plan was to alter the 20th Century Fox logo, turning it into heat vision, as seen in the Predator's viewpoint. Halfway through the fanfare, the studio nixed that particular idea. I don't know why they didn't do that, but they did. And last bonus fact is when asked where he drew the inspiration for how to make a Predator film, quote unquote, Robert Rodriguez responded he was inspired. Wait, is there a why?
He was inspired what
No,
to
it said
do.
yeah, no, it was. I was just rereading that because I was wondering if that was worded weird. Anyway, I'm start over. When asked where he drew his inspiration for how to make a quote Predator film end quote film, Robert Rodriguez responded he was inspired what to do from Predator 1987 and was not to do and what not to do by Predator 2 1990, AVP Alien vs Predator 2004, and Aliens vs Predator Requiem 2007. Furthermore, he added he drew no inspiration whatsoever from the Predator comics. So there you go.
Yeah.
So that's why he only mentions 87 is because he didn't even acknowledge the other ones because he didn't care.
Yeah,
So-
apparently Robert Rodriguez and I want to say maybe James Cameron were supposed to do a Predator 3 back in like the mid 90s. And then because I think Robert Rodriguez was supposed to write it, Cameron was supposed to direct, but then Cameron ended up going to do
probably Bad Boys at that time.
Yeah, he was directing something else, and he didn't want to be involved. Arnold
Or James Cameron. Wait, no. Sorry. That's the director of Avatar, right?
Yeah.
So
oh,
never
he
mind.
went to go do Titanic because
Titanic
Yeah,
is
because
around-
I want to say it was
Yeah,
supposed.
97.
Yeah, it was supposed to be in '97 is when the movie was supposed to come out, and so because I think they were working on it from like '95 or something like that, and so
Oh, wait, no. Second Predator takes place in 1992, I think. Or I mean, not takes place, but was
it was filmed in '92.
Yeah.
Takes place in '97.
Exactly,
The
yes.
third movie was supposed to be start filming in like '95, and it was going to be released in like
guess what?
'97.
Titanic came out in 1997.
And- yeah,
so
but
at that
Cam-
time,
yeah.
yes, James Cameron would have been filming.
Yeah, so he went
Titanic,
on to
yeah.
do Titanic. Robert Rodriguez was supposed to write it, but then he went on to go do, I think, From Dusk Till Dawn. And then
That would be hard for me to find, but
Oh,
or, I
dude.
mean, I guess
From
I could,
Dusk
right?
Till Dawn is such a great movie. And then or that yeah, because I think he went to go start that movie.
96.
Okay, yeah. So it was before even '97 then, because they were supposed to start production in '95, and then it all basically broke down. And this movie was
Oh yeah, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino are in this movie.
yeah.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
I love that movie. It's so good.
There's a second one. There's a third one.
Yeah, they're terrible.
The series.
Yeah, and then it was a 3-season TV series too on the El Rey network, Robert Rodriguez network.
Yeah, that was
But yeah, so those two ended up getting off the project, and then they had asked Arnold to come back, and they wanted Danny Glover to come back. They wanted Danny Glover to play Lawrence Fishburne's character, and they wanted Dutch to be, I think, Adrian Brody's character. Like he gets picked up at some
but
point.
they're their
and then-
own characters.
But
though,
yeah,
Yeah.
they're still playing the characters from their
from their past roles.
yes,
Yeah.
and so that's how it would have connected as the third one.
Interesting.
And then I think everybody basically was like, no, we're not going to do it, you know. And
then-
once Arnold was out, Cameron was out. Once Cameron was out, Rodriguez was out, I think. And then Danny Glover just didn't want anything to do with it at all again.
Yeah, because I mean, well, his movie technically succeeded, but it tanked locally though.
Right. Yeah. It was like it wasn't good for America, but all around. And then, you know, maybe DVD sales kind of pushed it up a little bit, but it's become more of a cult classic than it was like an original classic like the
Yeah,
regular
yeah.
Predator was. But yeah, things just kind of fell through. And then I guess eventually somebody got back to Robert Rodriguez at some point and were like, hey, we want to make that movie that you guys were talking about making like 20 years ago. You
Yeah,
know?
because again, Robert Rodriguez is the producer of
Yeah.
this, so he didn't
Yeah.
direct this.
Yeah, I want to say this story is based off of that previous script that he wrote. So like some of his ideas are still in the movie.
Oh yeah, it definitely seems like it.
Yeah.
Just based on some of those trivia facts. But we move on to our next segment, which is the loot box. So this is where Josh will pick whether or not we go down quotes, goofs, or soundtracks. What are we doing today?
Let's do quotes because I have a feeling
quotes.
Yeah, we did goofs last time, and I have a feeling soundtracks. Yeah, it doesn't have much in it. So
okie dokie. So here is. Are you on quotes?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to do a little line reading with me here?
Oh yeah, sure.
I sorted them based on total votes.
Okay.
Okay.
Refine.
So do you have?
Yes.
Machete is talking first.
Yeah.
All right. I'll be him, and then you be Edwin.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll also be Nikolai, I guess. Here we go. Here's a deleted scene. Do you think the water is safe to drink?
I will if you will.
Nikolai. I won't. I wouldn't.
All right, you guys. I have to pee.
Women pee? Women pee. Men piss.
And what do you do?
I unleash.
Oh my God! Thank God they. Man, I have a feeling that one. I could just see Danny Trejo
Yeah, I
saying
could definitely see him saying that. That would be awesome. All right, this is Isabel and Royce.
Oh yeah, here's that one about the Hemingway thing.
Yeah, this is Isabel and Royce. You want to be Isabel or Royce?
Oh, I could be Isabel. It's fine.
Okay.
What happened to you? What made you so fucked up?
There is no hunting like the hunting of a man, and those who've hunted armed men long enough and like it never really care for anything else thereafter.
Oh, that's pretty poetic. Did you come up with that all by yourself?
No, actually, that was Hemingway. And then there's like this eye lock between them. And I'm like,
oh,
what
you're
the
smart and sexy.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell's happening here? And then number 3.
Can I be Royce in this one, please?
Sure. This is Royce. So setting up the scene, Royce is checking on Isabel, who is paralyzed with his back to Edwin. Edwin is Topher.
Yeah.
I didn't think you'd come back, but she never lost faith in you. I guess I owe you an apology. You are a good man after all.
Edwin goes to stab Royce with his scalpel. No, I'm not.
Royce turns, disarms Edwin, and sticks the scalpel into Edwin's chin.
But I'm fast.
It's so dumb.
I love that line.
God.
Dude. It's just so, I don't know, man. I think when you watch it,
I'll give it a thumbs up.
I'll give it a thumbs up. I'm giving it a thumbs up too.
Do you want to do one more, or do you want to call it on that one? That was 3.
Wow, the next one's really long.
The next one is the one after that isn't though.
Yeah, let's just do the one after that. And then
you do Stains. I want to do Nolan.
Okay, so Stans. The group enters Nolan's hideout, which is Lawrence Fishburne. Wow, what a shithole! You live here?
Oh no. This is my summer home. I went in Riviera. The schools are so much nicer there. And the men, ooh la la. By the way, you're welcome. Oh my God. Oh man. Oh dude, there was another line. I didn't even remember this one. Okay, same roles. So, oh wait, no, it's Stains versus an Edwin.
Yeah, Stans is the prisoner.
Yeah, Stans. Oh wait, this is the raping one. Never mind.
Yeah. Oh, the one right below.
Yeah,
here's the
Nikolai.
in Russian. Yeah, you're one ugly motherfucker. So that's like right before Nikolai dies. It's the only time I think he speaks Russian in the entire movie.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find like funnier ones, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think those are like the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you got like a lot of the good funny ones too with like the prisoner and stuff.
Royce, you still pissed? Isabel, fuck you.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh man. Yeah, so that's about it there.
Yeah, this movie's very quotable. I'd say out of all the Predator movies so far, besides number 1, this one's probably the most quotable. Like number 2 for sure, because it's got great quotes, but they're just not as like the first one is just so memorable. I guess it's just really nostalgic with all of its taglines and stuff.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find more. By the way, Lawrence Fishburne, he refers to the predator that kills him as Big Dog.
Oh, Big Dog.
He says,
Yeah,
"Oh
that's
well,
right.
big dog, you finally caught up with me," and then he blows him up.
That's right.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it there. Okay, so we move on to the next one, which is taglines. My favorite segment of the whole entire show is taglines. Let me get down to it. These are the taglines that were used as advertisement for the movie, whether that be posters or just advertisement in general. But here we go. These are the taglines for, what is this movie called?
Predators.
You know, these are the worst ones. Man, even like scheduling on, I had to look up like, oh crap, which movie I'm supposed to watch this week? Like,
it would really help. Besides number 2, they like none of them have a number.
Yeah,
you know.
So here we go. These are the taglines. Predators. These are taglines right here. Here we go. Number 1, Fear the Reborn. Number 2, The Hunt is On. Number 3, This Summer, Fear the Reborn. And number 4, The Most Dangerous Killers on the Planet. But this is not our planet. And those are the taglines for Predators. Those ones weren't as great as the other ones were.
Man, I wish I could get paid to come up with taglines.
Yeah, those were
so easy.
Those were not great. And then we head on down.
They totally missed an opportunity with the whole like, oh, we're the Predators thing. It should have been something like, oh, like, we're on a planet of predators, but are they the predators or are we? You know, something like that. Like, you know, because they could have totally used like,
are they the predators?
Yeah,
or are they being the prey?
Yeah, you know, something like that. Like,
I don't know.
This time we're the predators. You know, like.
Well,
never mind. That sounds kind of bad. Now that I think about it.
I don't know. Topher's character.
yeah. I guess he kind of was. You know.
The release date for this film was July 9th, 2010. So just so you guys know, this was the first Predator movie since AVPR that came out in 2005, I guess. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, AVPR came out. Well, isn't it written on your thing then?
No, that one's the time frame.
AVPR.
2007. So we haven't seen Predator for
this one came
a couple years.
Yeah, this was 2010.
Okay, and then we go into the box office. Let's see how much this bad boy made. Budget was $40 million estimated. Opening weekend was 24,760,882 US. Not great, but it did gross 127,233,108 worldwide. So it definitely made its money back. So Fox was probably happy, and that's probably why they signed off for. What is this? Predators?
The Predator.
The Predator, which did not do great at all.
No.
So now we head over to tech specs for those cinemaphiles that want to know a little bit extra about the movie. Runtime is 1 hour and 47 minutes, which equals out to 107 minutes.
It's about right. They're all, like all the Predator movies, save for the last one, I think. Or maybe it was AVPR. AVPR was 1 hour and a half. All the rest of them have been about 1 hour 40 some odd minutes.
The camera used is the Panavision Genesis HD camera with Panavision Primo lenses.
I love the names of cameras.
Yeah. Let's see here. Film length is 7,799 meters. I don't know what that even is. Negative format is video HD TV. What the heck? I don't know. Okay.
Wait, where are we at?
I'm looking at the bottom parts of this. I haven't seen that being used as those descriptive things. Cinematic process. Digital intermediate is 2K, master format, and HD cam senior, I don't know what SR is, 1080p, 24 frames, source format, and printed on 35 millimeter anamorphic Kodak Vision 2383 and D Cinema. There you go. And let's see here. We go into our rankings. So why don't you tell us the rankings of this? You want me to remind the folks at home what our ranking system is about?
Yeah. You can go over that.
Okay, so the ranking system is based on a 0 to 10 scale. So 0 to 0.9 is trash. A 1 to 1.9 is unplayable. These are also used for our video game stuff. We don't rate video games anymore, so I'm going to say it's unwatchable. 1 to 1.9 is unwatchable. 2 to 2.9 is horrific. 3 to 3.9 is terrible. 4 to 4.9 is mediocre. 5 to 5.9 is meh. 6 to 6.9 is a borrow. 7 to 7.9 is worthy, which means like it's worthy of owning, it's worthy of watching multiple times. 8 to 8.9 is marvelous. A 9 to 9.9 is a must-have. You need to have this in your library. And 10 is groundbreaking. It is something that if you don't own it, you need to stop what you're doing and go buy the movie
10's
now.
basically a perfect film.
Yeah, it is a perfect cinematic masterpiece. So it's groundbreaking. So anyway, let's see what you said, Josh. What did you give it a ranking of?
Okay, so
and why, I guess.
So this movie, to me, having only seen it, this is my second time seeing it, and I didn't really remember it from the first time. And I didn't hate it the first time I watched it. It just didn't. Maybe when I watched it, I wasn't in the right headspace, because I didn't really remember much of it. I don't know. But watching it this time, I had so much fun watching this movie because it reminded me a lot of the first one. Had great quotable lines. I enjoyed the characters; they were really fun. Granted, there's character development, but it's not character development like backstories and things like that. Nothing really like real important that you need to know. It's just minor character development. So it kind of keeps the action going quickly. The pace is really fast. Everybody gets together really quick. Uh, Overall, the action's really good. The CG and stuff like that holds up pretty well. Some of it doesn't quite so well, but there is some of it that's still pretty good. I'd say out of all the stuff in this movie that I wasn't a fan of, the big predators, I'm not too big a fan of their design. I'm kind of glad they keep their masks on most of the movie. There are a couple parts that are a little drawn out, but overall the movie's pretty quick, and it's great fun. I enjoyed it. It's not as great as the first one, but I'm definitely putting it on par with number 2, and I'm giving it a solid 7.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, you did give Predator 2 a 7. Huh, interesting. So with this movie, I definitely like. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is because we have watched all the Predator movies, but I feel like because of these movies are in the same universe, you probably like Predator at this point. If not, this is a movie that you're gonna just watch. I think it's definitely one of those things where it's like it does everything that the first Predator does, and what all of the others fell hard short on.
Yeah.
We complain about an AVP where it's just too much backstory. We don't need all that. They cut that out. They're like, you know what? Yeah, we don't need all that. They're just falling out of the sky. We want to just keep them constantly moving, throw the Predator in there constantly over and over again. The storyline is literally, it's this. They fell from the sky. Now they want to get off the planet.
Yeah.
That's literally it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no romantic situation that needs to be described. There is at the very end of the movie, but until then, it's not like a factor of the movie that all these other movies have kind of implemented. Not all of them, sorry. Like Predator 2 didn't have that. But there's a reason for they pretty much did what Predator did, except instead of getting rid of the girl and rid of the comic relief. Actually, no, the comic relief. That guy died, and the other guy, they kept them together, and there were the final 3, and one of them died, and then the 2 survived, which was Adrian Brody's character and Isabel. And so, I thought it was really good. And going on our rating system, I think it's definitely worthy of owning, and I gave it a 7 as well.
Nice.
I think it was definitely. It's a good Predator movie. It's just a good Predator movie. And it's worthy of being contended. It's not as good as the first one because the first one definitely laid out the marks, and you can definitely tell that this movie copied a lot of what was good from that. And like how it said in the trivia, if Robert Rodriguez really did implement a lot of his say in it, which he probably did because he's a producer and that's how he is, not a bad thing, because he took all the stuff that he saw from those other movies and he was like, this is bullshit, don't need to be in it, and he took all that stuff out and then he just laid out all the good stuff from the first movie and made a Predator movie.
Yeah, he made a solid sequel. Like if the AVP series and technically the other movie didn't exist when this one was made, the Predator, because that came out last year. So at this point, it was the first 2 Predator movies and the AVP movies, and those were the only Predator films. And the AVP movies, most people didn't even consider part of the Predator universe. So theoretically speaking, this one is the third Predator movie, and it's a solid sequel. It's a great way, even if they don't ever come up with another Predator movie to follow this line of Predator movies, or if like they never bring this planet up again or whatever. I can settle with this being a good, like, if you were just gonna watch a trilogy of Predator movies, Predator 1, 2, and Predators, I would say that's a solid trilogy to watch. Like, this could close out the series, leaving it a little ambiguous at the end, but it's a solid enough choice to where you can still have fun with the whole series of just the main three movies. And then and at this point too, like, it kind of takes the first movie and scales it up just a notch, because it's like, oh, it's not Earth, it's a different planet, and then they throw in a couple other creatures and stuff, and it's like, granted, it's kind of like how episode 7 did with episode 4, where it lays kind of the same ground
in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, in Star Wars, where it's essentially, it's like kind of a beat for beat kind of thing, but they do it different enough to where it's still interesting, but it's still similar enough to where it's not like groundbreaking.
Yeah,
you know.
And like in the first film, the characters were fun.
Yeah,
and
Adrian Brody's character was awesome.
And they did in this movie. They made all the characters fun to watch.
Yes.
When they died, you're like, okay, like I know that they were gonna die in this movie, but I'm kind of bummed that they did.
Yeah.
Because in the first film, that's what they did. They were all really big. You had freaking Creed in that movie. Like,
yes.
You know, there's all these big name actors that you've or actors that you've seen. Like, you know, you may not have known who Jesse Bobby Ventura was, but you've seen him because obviously WWF was a big deal during that time. So it's like, you know who these people are, and they're just in this film together. Like how in this movie, there's all these people that you've seen maybe in the background or like as a B character, and now they're like opposed from Adrian Brody, because obviously he's a star actor. But the rest of them are a lot of, and Machete, and I guess Lawrence Fishburne. But anyway, you get the point. Like, all these characters you've seen at some point in time in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
and now when they died, you're like, oh damn. Well,
yeah, they're all at least A- list actors.
Yeah,
like,
as opposed to like all those other movies, like even AVP and AVPR, and like, you know, there's so many characters, and this movie definitely didn't shy away from that. There are 9 humans in this movie.
Yeah.
But they used them in such a way that they were like, okay, like, I get this person's this way, this person's this way.
Everybody
They're
got
all
enough
a killer.
screen time to kind of go over their character. Nobody like overshadowed anybody. Like, they all communicated really well.
I definitely think everybody, like, it's like a Super Bowl football team. Like, they all went and played together, but they'll probably never be in another movie together.
Right.
Like, all together at the same time.
Yeah,
it's the next season, they've moved on.
The Predator All-Star team.
Exactly. I mean, you know, All-Star team, I guess, would have been bringing
Arnold I guess.
Somewhere,
okay,
but,
the new All-Star team. New
See, what they need to do is do that. They bring, like, Adrian Brody, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then, like, all these other people
this
that
year
survived.
On Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. Danny Glover. They're like, but yeah, no, I think it's a solid 7. It's worthy of watching. It's worthy of maybe having in your DVD collection. Maybe you don't watch it all the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's definitely like, hey, we're going to have a movie night. Let's just watch Predators.
You know, honestly, I think, like, I love Predator 2, don't get me wrong, but if I were to be like, oh, like, which of the Predator movies do you just want to watch? Like, and if I wasn't going to watch number 1, I would probably go with this one over Predator 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, that definitely follows in. So, what is our rating system so far? Can you tell based on this?
Oh,
it goes 1, 2. Okay.
Okay, so am I just starting from the top
Yep.
here?
So at the end of all of the Predator movies, duly note, that doesn't mean that this is the final ranking system.
Yeah,
we still have the
only
Alien
halfway
movies.
through this.
Yeah, we still have the Alien movies. So stay tuned. But after we're done with all the Predators, what is the ranking system? What is the leaderboard looking so far?
Okay, so out of the 6 Predator movies that we have watched, and out of half the season so far, we have Predator still on top with a solid 8.5. That was the average of our 2 scores.
1987 film, just so that everyone knows, because of all these stupid names.
So Predator 87 is 8.5. Coming in at tied for number 2. Oh, no. Sorry, my bad.
Number 2 is down here
I
now.
forgot that you gave that one a little bit lower score than I did.
Yeah.
So number 2 now is Predators. The 2010 film, the one that we just watched, that slides into second place with a just straightforward 7. Then now moving down to third place is Predator 2 with a 6.5. And then in fourth place is
AVP. Oh wait, no. Yes. That's fourth.
Oh, I thought I can't see it from here.
Yeah, it's all weird. I have
Okay,
them a
okay.
little
Yeah,
less blurry here.
I couldn't. Yeah, I just couldn't read it.
Here's a little less blurry if you need that.
Oh, sorry. So AVP. Okay.
They're
Oh,
not in
okay.
order, but those are the scores.
Okay, got you. So AVP is in fourth place with 5, and then the Predator, which was the one previous to this most recent one that we watched, is 4.5, and then coming in last place out of the 6 is AVPR at 3.5.
Yes.
So we are continuing our back uphill trend here.
Yeah, we have dug out of the rut.
Yes.
That was the Predator franchise.
Yeah,
and
we got out of it pretty good. I mean, a 7 end off the Predator series.
I definitely
is a pretty good score.
I definitely have a better taste in my mouth after this movie because I was like, oh boy, that was a doozy.
Yeah,
like
we're getting a little Predator fatigue during the middle of that.
But after this movie, I was like, you know what? I'm glad we went through all the shit because we came through and we got to this point where, because of this movie, we got references. We got we can compare it to why that they may have chosen all this stuff. And I don't know. I definitely think it was an interesting thing. I hope that everyone at home has been very interested in this whole sequence of films and whatnot.
And it's been kind of nice because from Predator 1 to Predators, like if you're watching it chronologically like we are
in the timeline,
in the movie timeline, it comes full circle with Predators because they make a few back references. They reference a lot of the quotes and stuff. And then, like I was saying, at the end of the movie, they play that song from the very beginning of the first Predator. Yeah, and it's like, well, that's really cool, man. It's like they're paying homage to the old school movies, and then it's very similar setup and everything. So yeah, I really enjoyed this film after seeing it a second time. And
this is the first time I've seen all of these films, except for the next film, because the next film is Prometheus.
Yes.
I have seen this movie twice.
Yeah.
Not all the way through the second time, but I've seen it all the way through in theaters. Now we've headed into movies that I've seen. Well, then again, I did see AVP in theaters too. But Prometheus I saw in theaters as well. So that's the next one.
Yeah.
And
I'm excited. I don't mind the next movie, but I mean, obviously we'll get more into it later, but I like the Alien franchise a lot. They've always been some of my favorite films. So I'm excited to dive into it, and it'll be nice to get away from Predator, to kind of dive into something else, but still be in kind of the same universe.
Yeah, it is definitely weird to feel like, man, we conquered Predator.
Yeah,
we fought Predator. We went through. We got some hard blows in the middle, but then we conquered at the very end.
Yep.
We took them out. We conquered Predator.
Yeah, we killed like 12 of them.
Yeah, it was definitely a trip. But yeah, Prometheus is the next one on everyone's docket now on the timeline, because these ones actually do have years on them. Prometheus takes place in 2092.
Yes.
So we have launched ourselves in, what is this, how long?
Into the future. So this will be give or take 70, 80 years into the future.
Yeah, 80 years, 78 years technically, right? Is my math right on that?
From
2018?
2018 to 92.
78? Is that 78?
Like 74.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, 20 to 90.
Oh, yeah,
70,
sorry, I went down. I should have went up.
74.
So there you go. We're jumping 70 plus years into the future to get to Prometheus. They have no correlation to one another after this point, after AVPR. But hey, you know what? They're technically, they crossed over.
Yeah, because basically we got a taste of the xenomorphs in AVP and AVPR, and you kind of know what they're about. But
now we're going to get into the real nitty gritty.
Yeah, we don't know where they came from, why they're here, like where the Predators found them, anything like that. And so we'll kind of start diving into some of that info here pretty soon. And granted, the AVP, like if you want to get technical, the AVP movies before Prometheus had even come out, the AVP movies had come out, and they kind of retconned some of the Alien canon based off the movies that had come out previously. So, there'll be some discrepancies here, but essentially they all do reference each other in one way, shape, or form, and they all, are kind of canon. I don't know. You get suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of connecting dots where dots aren't. But hey, it's whatever.
Yeah, but it's just fun to do it because it's I don't know. I like to think of it.
Yeah, because I mean, if we're gonna watch Predator and Alien movies, we have to throw Alien and
exactly.
Predator in there. So, and it also equals out to a nice season.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm actually really excited for this back half of the season because I've never seen any of these other Alien movies other than Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
God, dude,
So
I
have
cannot
never
wait
seen
until you see the
these
original
other
Alien.
ones. So we might get some high scores on this back end. We
Yeah,
might get some
dude.
low scores at these ends. So I'm not sure.
I can't wait until an Alien Resurrection. Oh my God, it's gonna be so fun to end this on that. Alien Resurrection is so it's ridiculous. I love it.
Alrighty, well that is going to be it for Movie Combat. I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. If you guys want to subscribe to us, we are on YouTube as the video version of this podcast. If you guys want to listen to audio versions of this, don't worry, because if you're an Apple user, you can listen to us on the traditional iTunes. But if you are an Android user, you can go and download Podbean, and you can listen to our podcast over there. And that way you can just, there you go, boom, right there. Or if you just want to listen on your computer, you can download iTunes on your PC or whatever. But anyway, there is a video version over on YouTube. Subscribe to us on all of those platforms. It really helps us out. Rate the podcast. I know that our podcast feed is a little jumbled, just more of because we load all of our content on here. So if you guys want to keep tuned to all of the podcasts that we do here on Primal Target, you only got to subscribe to one feed. That way, you can just keep it all in one spot, and then you don't got to keep subscribing to everybody else. And then, so there you go. And but rate and review our stuff on iTunes and Podbean. It helps us out, boosts our numbers up so that other people can listen. I know that our Podbean users are helping us out, so thank you on that end. And so yeah, keep it going. iTunes users, you got to take down those Podbean guys now. You gotta. Now it's a war.
Yeah.
Now it's a war between
which
iTunes
ones are
and
the
Podbean.
predators and which ones are the xenomorphs.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have the comment section is open to you. And then over on the YouTube side, those are the humans.
Yeah.
You guys do good sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are fucked.
But
you're just the fodder.
But see, you guys have to be the humans and conquer everything.
Yeah.
You got to be the ones that strive and make it to the end. You don't die. You got to survive.
Yep.
Make sure you hit subscribe and thumbs ups over there. Comment section is open to you guys on all of these all these episodes, because we are curious to hear what you guys would have given the ratings for these movies if you guys like them. What's your fun fact or thing that you liked about the movie? Things that you didn't like about the movie?
Yeah, favorite scenes.
Yeah,
or characters, quotes.
Anything you want. The reason why I'm going a little bit longer is because this is this is like the halftime.
Yeah.
We've made it to the half part. I won't do this in the rest of them. I'll just do the soft ones, outros. But anyway, that's gonna be it from all of us here at Primal Target. My name is Ryan A. Moore. Joining me was
Josh.
and we'll see you guys in the next episode next week when we watch Prometheus.
Yes.